In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What is the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspectives. We're not expert football. Well, what are we? We're just expert football fans here, man. And we're here again. And I'm trying to get us hype. Gosh, it was a tough week, Cody.
We're going to be all right.
We suffered a loss. I was trying to hype myself up internally.
Yep.
Anyway, we're here. We're here after the Carolina Panthers suffered a loss to the Dallas Cowboys. We fall to 3-1 and kind of got smoked out in the third quarter. Not kind of, did. Just got dusted in the third quarter, and it's made the last 2 days a little tough for me emotionally as I'm trying to figure out what this team is, but we're going to do it tonight. Tonight's show is Carolina Panthers Short Circuit. You'll figure it out when we get to it, and maybe this guy's already figured it out if he hasn't already short-circuited 2 days later. Cody Lashney, welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Listen, I have not short-circuited. In fact, if anything, Tony Dunn, I've recharged my batteries, man. Listen, there's a lot of parity in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have already lost once. I think the Chargers are one of the best teams in football. They lost to the Cowboys. The Cowboys lost to Tampa. The Rams were one of the best teams, and they just lost to the Cardinals, man. So you know what? Hope springs eternal. The Panthers are 3-1, and we're going to talk about these Carolina Panthers with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. Tony Dunn, you already know them and love them. It's Trill1, ATX19, C, Tim Estes, 10 Tizzy, Brad Holt, Tommy Doc Martin, Underground West, Panthers are kings, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Dude, I tell you, Shaq Thompson is out, and he might not play again for more than one game. And if you would have asked me that at the beginning of the season, wouldn't have said it was going to be the biggest loss that we've ever suffered. But after the way this guy's been playing, it's going to be hard for this defense to find some continuity given all the changes in the secondary. I'm worried about that a little bit.
Yep.
We come off a smoking from the Dallas Cowboys. Guess who else got smoked by the Cowboys? That was the Philadelphia Eagles. We got them next. And those guys had to go and play the damn Kansas City Chiefs.
No small order there.
CK, is the week after the Cowboys just a bounce back week for everybody? And then how does that work for us now? Because we got to play the Eagles who've already bounced back.
The only thing I'm afraid of calling it a bounce back is like the Eagles have collapsed in certain games, and in other games they've actually been, serviceable, if you will. I worry about Jalen Hurts, being able to run the ball down our throats, with the issues we have. And hopefully without an Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, we're able to, contend with these guys. I'm afraid to call it a bounce back because I'm afraid we're going to run into exactly the same issue you had after the Houston game, which is if we don't dominate, well, now we're still looking bad, right? We still feel like we're not in a good spot. That's the only thing I worry about. I think it's definitely an opportunity for us to show what we're capable of, but I also worry that it's one of these games that isn't necessarily going to be as one-sided as we think.
The Panthers fell, what was it, 38? I just had it, and I just
it was 28 to 36.
36-28. The Panthers fell to the Dallas Cowboys, who ran all over us, 246 yards on the ground. So we're going to talk a little bit about that game tonight. We're also going to look ahead to the Philadelphia Eagles matchup that is this Sunday. And we've got we've got some injury talk in between. We got to talk about these third quarter woes. We got to talk about this coaching. We got to talk about this offensive line. So y'all in the chat, be collecting your thoughts, getting your subjects ready. We need for you to help us get on the trail of this news, and they already said don't talk about something. What are they talking about? What are they saying we shouldn't talk about? Because now I'm already talking about it.
Well, we're going to talk about it. We have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys releasing Jalen Smith.
Lord. And we don't have linebackers, and we need linebackers.
Especially considering Shaq Thompson is now week to week, and that was a big blow for our football team. I mean, considering how Shaq Thompson has played, he's played the best start to any season that he's had as a Carolina Panther, in my opinion. I know many people share that opinion. And yeah, the fact that we're thin at that position, it gives us an opportunity to potentially add a very good player to a young Panthers defense and potentially have him add on. Again, man, these things are tough to talk about because we have a lot of people that we have to sign next year. We just brought in CJ Henderson too in a trade. So draft picks are, few and far between. But also, I can't really speak too much of why the Cowboys let go of him. I don't know. Was he underperforming that bad? I really can't tell you.
Did he play against us? Did he make a difference?
Yeah, he did.
He's not been.
Then if he did, then there must have been something going on behind the scenes. You don't just cut a player in week 5 or 4. Yeah, week 5 after a win.
The
where
problem
your defense plays well. Come on.
You got to keep in mind that he was obviously super sought after, and then he had that major injury right before the draft, right? And then the Cowboys picked him up, and then he started to come on, but he was also a bit inconsistent. You guys got to keep in mind who the Cowboys just drafted, right? Micah Parsons was drafted as a replacement to Jalen Smith. No matter what two ways you look at it, that's what it was. So I don't necessarily say that it's worth saying that there's something that Jalen did wrong. It's just that they were ready to move on, and they weren't ready to pay the guy who was getting ready to come up onto a contract situation. That's my personal opinion.
Hey, a couple of veterans floating around out there, right? This guy and then the Detroit guy.
Yep. What's the Detroit guy's name? Jamie Collins?
Yeah, Jamie Collins.
Can
you call him a Detroit guy, or can you just call him the Patriots guy?
Yeah, right. The Patriots guy. Yeah, by the way, real quick, shout out to Grim Reaper for the $10 love bomb. He says Panthers are craving an eagle. Let's devour this team. Keep pounding. Couldn't agree with you more, Grim Reaper. We think the Grim Reaper is the Carolina Panthers coming for those Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, let's do a temperature check, man. How are y'all feeling after that? Like going forward, I know we're kind of banged up and that wasn't our best performance. We know that. But like I said at the top of the show, a lot of the better teams in football have already put up some stinkers. The Bills are one of the best teams, and they came out flat to open the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, like garbage.
And, dude, listen, I've been saying this. The Los Angeles Chargers are one of, if not the best teams in football, and they also got beaten by the Dallas Cowboys, and Justin Herbert also threw 2 interceptions in those games, just like Sam Darnold did. So, yeah, listen, it was a bad performance. I think it is what it is. We've had time to live it down. The Panthers got their ass kicked. But there is a bright side to this that I don't think people are considering. Now our schedule going forward is still pretty easy. We should be favored in all those matches. The Panthers are going to kind of, for a little while, be one of those teams that are going to be slept on because we're going to be feasting on the bad teams. So then whenever we are in the spotlight, again, we're going to be slept on even more because they think that the Panthers aren't playing anyone good. So in my mind, Carolina's in a really good spot right now. I don't feel as bad as I did, especially after the game. And I think the Panthers, they have a lot of film to look at. They know that they need to do a lot of things better than they did. Primarily run defense, a lot on defense. But, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and have faith that they're going to be able to rebound in a big kind of way against a young quarterback in Jalen Smith.
I'm kind of in this point right now, excuse me, where I don't know if this loss to Dallas is
Smith. You're still on that Smith linebacker.
No, actually, I was thinking Devonta Smith because that's the
Yeah.
receiver that they just drafted. Yep.
I'm at this point right now where I don't know when it comes to this loss, guys, is that if this loss is, like you said, one of those that kind of these stinkers that happens to a team and then they refocus and they get better. And the reason I don't know if I'm ready to just jump on that, optimistic bandwagon is because of the injuries that are starting to beset this team.
Yeah.
Right, is that now we're starting to get like some big time injuries to young players that we thought we were going to get better, not better throughout the season, but losing JC Horn, right? Is that what he was in week 2? I thought he was going to be better in week 10. So, I was looking forward to seeing JC Horn play in week 10. We don't got that anymore, right? Now you got Shaq, who is surging into, or was like resurging, or finally being who I wanted him to be. Now he's hurt now. Yeah. Then you see Hassan Reddick get the stinger, right? And then he's not as effective. And I've got reasons why I don't think it's on our pass rush. Don't worry about our defensive line just yet, folks. But I'm just starting to wonder: are we now getting 1,000 death by 1,000 cuts? And the reason we have one big leaking ass artery, and that's the offensive line. So it's not like we're this just fantastic team. I've been trying to tell y'all everything had to kind of go perfect for it to be really great. And it was, for 4. Yeah, exactly. It was, you saw what perfect was, or close to it. But now we have no CMC. And I think that the real cancer or the real disease that is this team is still going to come back to the offensive line. I don't think you have to worry about the the defense is not going to be top 5 anymore if the secondary is like this. If we're playing people off the street at linebacker, it's not. We can't. How can you be a top 5 defense if you're playing nobodies down the road there? So I just think our hopes of a top 5 defense are dwindling. Now we're starting to get injuries, and now it comes back to this: is it turns out our offensive line is like bottom, baby, like bottom. Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. It'd be different.
And that is where I don't know what to do. I want to say this is just one-off game, but I'm scared that this is starting to tell us that there's some real deficiencies.
Can I offer you some hope? And this is may not necessarily be the hope that you're looking for, but we got to keep in mind there is another squad that had a very bad offensive line and made it to the Super Bowl last year, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs. I know they have a lot of different pieces. You have Mahomes. You can't compare Darnold to Mahomes.
I mean, you went there.
But I'm just saying, it's not impossible with a bad offensive line to still make something happen. The problem is you're not going to win the actual Super Bowl without a good offensive line. And we've learned that in 2015.
Yeah, that's true. And listen, I think we have a clip that we're going to play with Matt Rhule speaking about this a little bit more. But listen, I'm that broken record like I always am. I am a firm believer, and I'm going to die on the hill, that the answers to our woes are already on the roster. And people in the chat room are already screaming their names.
You know who you sound
like? Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen. This is.
You sound like Ron Rivera, dude. You sound like Dave Gettleman. That's what they told us. That's what they used to always tell us. The answers are on the roster. Dave Gettleman and all of them used to tell us that all the time. And now you're them. You've become you're the reincarnate of Dave Gettleman.
Them, but I'm also anti them because I just want to give
I'm just saying that's what they used to tell us too. That's what they used to tell us too.
One of the biggest annoyances that we've had with Ron Rivera and during his tenure in Carolina was that he would not play the young guys at the positions that they need to be played in. And I feel like Matt.
But they always said the answers on the roster when it wasn't. There was.
Yeah, but this now we know for a fact that if you look at who the Panthers are charting out, Pat Elflein and Matt Paradis, Those two guys are not playing good, and they're not going to get better just over the next few weeks. There is no good reason why Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen haven't seen some playing time. Matt Rhule kind of alluded to it, but Tony, I don't give a fuck who said it before. The answers are on our roster. If you're a coach in 2021 and you just think that because you have a rookie that has short arms a little bit that he can't play left tackle, then that's on you. That's a flaw in your own mindset.
I can't wait to get you on C3 debates this week, because one of those debate topics, I'll tease it out for the audience, is where we're at right now. If you could redraft, would you take Rashawn Slater or JC Horn? Ooh, I mean, debate my take on C3.
I don't know my answer right now.
On Wednesday. No, I'm putting it out for the audience right now. You guys think about it. Is on Wednesday, Cody and I, we're going to show down on Debate My Take. We're going to go through a series of topics, and one of them is right now, if we redrafted at this very moment, Slater or Horn. And we got to go after each other. We're going to be going. Anyway, the number is 252-228-5098, folks. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest news from the fan perspective when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. Let's go ahead and really start pushing through the show, right? We got to push through the show. Let's start with this. Tonight, the short circuit loss starts with this. 36-28 loss to the Cowboys. 246 yards rushing allowed. 20 unanswered third quarter points for the Carolina Panthers. Could have been more. There was a 2-point conversion, I believe, that was stopped in the process or overruled, or one of them. Such a depressing quarter. What is going on? I'm going to let you guys take the mic on this. What's going on? Is this the defense? Is this a bad defensive performance? Is that where you want to go with this? Do you want to go to this third quarter for Joe Brady's whole eternity and Matt Rhule's whole tenure in Carolina? What did these numbers right here spark to your brains in the aftermath of that? Man, we got beat up in a street fight by Cowboys.
It reminded me.
Their fans are the worst, dude.
It reminded me too much of that loss that we had to the Patriots, or to the Falcons rather, when Julio Jones was going crazy on us. Like, that's what it felt like to me. Like, it was. Yeah,
that's a great analogy.
Like, we had a great
defense that way,
but it hurt way more to say, like, at the end of the day, to see that stat line was the worst. It's the most painful thing out of this entire thing for me. I think that what you can take from the numbers is that we had a literal, like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong in the third quarter. Every fucking thing. And the problem is like, the one thing that's kept us in games has been our defense. And when we always had the question going into this game, is Sam Darnold going to be able to go on a shootout with another team? And the problem is, I think he can, but not with this offensive line. Like, I don't want to keep on hashing out the offensive line, but that's the reason that this looks so much worse than it is, because we constantly gave them the ball back. They were with a lead. Don't get me wrong. They were rushing well from the beginning of the game, but we were still holding them in check in some degree. But once they were playing from ahead, there was no stopping that. It was like bleeding. Like, we were just letting them go through. And that's because all they had to do was run the ball. And that's what the last thing you want to do with an Ezekiel Elliott, who gets better the more he runs.
Yeah, I've sort of said a little bit of my piece earlier about it. I'm not too down on it. I think the better team won. Listen, that Dallas offensive line.
Look at these numbers, though. This third quarter.
But that's why. That's why, though. Almost 250 rushing yards. That means you have some big badasses up front on the offensive line. They have veterans like Tyron Smith out there that have been doing this forever, playing at the top of their game. Also, keep in mind that we have a lot of new faces on this defensive front seven, and I don't think that gets said that much. Daquan Jones wasn't here last year. Hassan Reddick wasn't here last year. Davion Nixon is a rookie. I mean, really, we have guys that are still kind of finding their rhythm in this defense. And they just went up against a more experienced, more battle-hardened, battle-tested offensive line. And that allowed their offense to be able to do whatever they want. How is it not true?
They had
I'll tell you what's not true is that there's
Martin.
20 unanswered third quarter points. They just popped off some big ass explosive runs in the third quarter alone. Right, that was it. Like, I mean, like, is that we had more time of possession than they did in this game. And so I just want to put it in the context. They weren't just running the ball on us like here 5, 7, 9. It was like they would just in this one quarter, they tore off a chunk of like 30 yards and all of a sudden be a touchdown. And then we go 3 and out or an interception right away. And then it was like another 40-yard run for a touchdown. Right. So we're just not used to explosive plays happening in the run game in the NFL. But these were just explosive plays against us. It wasn't. And so I'm not saying that their offensive line isn't good. I'm not saying that they didn't win the day, because obviously they won those plays. But this was one quarter of them just gashing us. And the thing that could save us is an offensive response.
Yeah.
You want to keep their defense, how do you beat Kansas City? How do you beat high-powered offense? You keep their asses off the field.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I come back to our offense did not help our defense enough and hasn't helped our defense enough all season.
And it's not going to. I mean, like this is
okay.
Oh,
because of the line. Oh,
yeah.
Do we need to get
and listen, like this is why I said, if you've been a fan of the C3 podcast for a while, when I pick a hill to die on, I'm not fucking coming off of it. I was on the hill that Ron Rivera needed to be fired the season before he was actually fired. So I'm telling you now, and I said it on the postgame show, I'll be as clear as I possibly can. The Carolina Panthers are not a playoff football team unless they make changes on this offensive line. Because our current group of starters with Cam Irving, Pat Elflein, and Matt Paradis, that entire left side of the O-line is doo-doo. And it's not going to be able to take us into a legitimate playoff
doo-doo it is? Do you know how? I don't know. Do you want to see how doo-doo it is first before we hear from Matt Rhule, or do you want to hear from Matt Rhule and then see how doo-doo it is?
Let's hear from Matt Rhule. And then,
because I'm gonna give you. I found look. Go to Reddit first.
I said
Reddit.
Let's hear from Matt. Let's hear from Matt.
Let's hear what Matt Rhule's guys. Oh,
and then
I did want to say
if his response is warranted in front of the truth.
Tonight's show is called Carolina Panthers Short Circuit, and the reason being is that we did melt down or short circuit in week 4 in Dallas. But we did have this cool thing is that the Panthers, because of the pandemic, the players aren't getting out as much. And now they have launched this iPad robot. And I got to say, I'm a little disappointed with the face and the screen. Like, it does look like an iPad with a, actually the same webcam that I got hooked up on top of my, monitor right here. So I think it's a cool idea. Like you could see that I will show you next time the actually I won't show you. You guys can go look it up on Google and see what the bottom of the robot looks like. But it does kind of remind me of that robot from Short Circuit. What was his name, Cody?
Johnny number 5.
Johnny number 5 rolling out there. But it is
is that
just an iPad turned sideways with a Logitech camera on top?
It does look just like the Madden version of of Matt Rhule. Yeah, that's Rat Mule.
Oh man.
So
they're gonna
he's alive.
They're gonna send this out to the hospitals to help. I mean, and that's cool. The kids can FaceTime with them and stuff like that. And do you think they're more excited about seeing the player on the screen or just a robot driving up? Because if I was like a 12-year-old kid, I think I would just be just as excited about the robot driving up as I would like Jermaine Carter Jr.
Right.
Actually, I would tell you this is I bet you I have 3 kids, so 2 out of 3 kids, no, 3 out of 3 kids would be more impressed by the robot than Jermaine Carter Jr. Is that messed up? Was that messed up?
I don't know,
They
man.
hate football. I mean, they don't love anything. The kids don't love anything. They're like Roblox and shit today.
Yeah, they're like Roblox, they're like Pokemon, probably. I don't know what kids like, but
let's hear.
Or they could be terrified too, and just not know what the hell it is and think it's something.
Nobody's terrified of robots anymore, man. It's like being terrified of a microwave. The number's 252-228-59. You're half robot, by the way.
Oh, dude, and let me tell you, I've like gone up to some children before, and when they don't know, like they look at me sometimes, and you'll see fear come into their face. Dude, one time I was downtown. It was right after I moved up to Charlotte for NASCAR Speed Week or something. It was a big event in downtown Charlotte. I'm just driving. I'm with one of my friends, and I'm with 2 friends of mine, and this one little girl sees me. And you swear you think that she just saw the devil incarnate. Like she started screaming.
She got fear. It was fear.
Running, yeah.
Fear.
I'm in a wheelchair, by the way, if you can't pick that out from my webcam. But yeah, kids might not be able to pick that up when some screen with a face is driving up into their hospital room with a Panther player on it. You never know, man.
So we know that this offensive line and the continuity of that line has been an issue here. And Cody, I want to give you credit for this. You've been talking about the personnel from the beginning, right? And going like how we address these problems. So here's Matt Rhule asked about this today.
Do you still think those starting 5 offensive linemen are your best 5?
Like I just said, I'm going to have to go through the game and see, go through this next opponent, see where they are. I think a lot of it comes down to Darren, who's healthy when we get to Wednesday. Those guys, while it's not always perfect, those guys are playing hard for us and they've been banged up. So I appreciate the way they're playing. So we'll see what we do moving forward this week. See who's healthy, see who's available, and take full stock at where we are.
See who's healthy and who's available, and take stock of where they are. Does that inspire confidence in you? I mean, again, it's the truth.
Well, yeah, actually, that's what he's saying is that in some ways is that the story is not dictated about like what we want to do. It's also about availability, right? So this guy could be playing great or whatever, and now he's hurt, and now we got to put somebody else in. Turns out this guy sucks. We think he might be our better option, but we're not sure. And he's hurt. So now we got to go with this other dude. What I'm trying to say is, and I think he is saying, is that injury dictates the roster more than just logic alone. Or maybe that's something we sit here on the outside and look like we want to put these pieces together like a chessboard where the queen is always worth the queen. But it turns out we got a gimpy leg dude or whatever. And what I think he is also saying is now he's recognizing that offensive line sucks. 2, these guys who suck are hurt. And now 3, we got to make some adjustments.
Yeah. I mean,
no?
I kind of.
You don't feel that?
Yeah.
You seem so underwhelmed by it, dude.
No, listen, I agree with the highlight. I have commented by Panther Blue. He totally avoided answering the question because by saying, "Oh, we'll go with whoever's healthy," that doesn't get to the root matter of are your starting guys good enough to be starting for the Carolina Panthers on the offensive line? And listen, when it comes to Matt Rhule, he's still such a new head coach to me that even up until now, I've kind of reserved my judgment on him. I feel like in a lot of ways, like I'm still trying to figure out who he is as a coach. But I feel like it's been long enough now that I can say that there are certain times when Matt Rhule's press conferences just annoy me. Like Ron Rivera, at least Ron Rivera would be like, he'll give you the cold shoulder and didn't want to like answer the question. And he was like, yeah, I know, but I don't want you to know. So I'm not even going to say anything.
That,
yeah. Whereas Matt Rhule kind of finds these ways to cleverly dance around and say a whole bunch of stuff without really giving a direct answer. And it kind of annoys me a lot of the times. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm definitely a fan of what he has been doing for us as a coach. I guess I'm talking about just the way that he answers questions about the football team. They don't necessarily seem very forthright. And then you add on top of the fact that there's this weird trend where Matt Rhule will give credit and props to a player, and then the next week they're either cut or gone or
Are you worried about DJ Moore right now by any chance?
Because of how much he's hyping him up? I mean,
he's about to trade. He's about to trade DJ Moore. He's listened to the podcast all last year about Curtis Samuel. He's like, man, these guys were right. Let's go ahead and trade DJ Moore now.
Dude,
oh my God. The way he came out and talked about DJ Moore, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be wearing a Packers jersey before the end of the game, before the end of the week.
But yeah, and again, man, like Matt Rhule has, I think, done great things as a coach thus far. It's just when we have issues like this, where you have the entire Panther fan base pretty much in unison chanting out, "Let us see the young guys," considering that so many other teams around the NFL are starting rookies on their offensive line, including the Kansas City Chiefs, including the Buffalo Bills, and they all have really good rookies starting on their O-line. It goes back to this problem, like, man, these issues that we're going up against, they don't have to be as bad as we're going through. And who's to say that if we don't give these young dudes a chance, namely Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown, they could end up being lights out for us. And it's a move that we wish we would have made forever ago.
I mean, can you get much worse than what we have? Like, that's the problem that I have right now is like, can it be worse? Because I don't see how it could. I mean, that's the part that I think we as Panther fans are looking at this offensive line. If we're a bottom 5 offensive line, which by all accounts and all statistics tell us that we are, then why not try out to see if these guys can actually do something better than what we have? Like, they've got to be at least a minor upgrade, if not a parallel promotion for these guys. And getting them experience is only going to get them better as time goes on. So, like, even if they're just as bad as this O-line is right now, give them a fucking shot and let them try to get better throughout the year. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're right, CK, but I think where Cody is wrong, not wrong, it's not the right term. I hate the receipts thing. Like, we all got to be right or wrong. I think we're finally starting to see Matt Rhule say, these are my 5 guys. This is the first time I've heard Matt Rhule say, I'm going to go to the tape and I got to look to see who my best 5 guys are. For the past 6 weeks or 8 weeks through training camp and all of this, all I heard him say was, we're going to start Irvin, F-line, Paradis. Like, this is our best line. I felt like this was his first moment where he said, I don't know who our best line is.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a recognition. I think he's been listening to you, Cody. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the moment where Matt Rhule admitted on the press conference that he listened to Cody Lashney on the show. And because Cody's been saying from the beginning, like, this isn't the best dudes. And he goes, yes, they are. And then imagine if you were debating with Matt Rhule for the last 6 weeks. Right?
Wait, why is he only?
I want Christians. And he'd be like, well, I think our best guys are this. And you'd be like, and he'd be like, I think our best. Why is he
only listening to me now? I've been saying this shit since the preseason. Hey, Matt, maybe come around to your boy a little bit earlier on, huh? How about it?
Maybe he's not listening to you
Or
now.
maybe you
he's
should
listening
just maybe you should just be happy that he is finally coming around.
I don't know. That might be a bit.
Well, I gotta see it to believe
Premature.
it.
Is that
I mean,
premature? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
it is premature because I
Okay.
gotta
I
see
agree.
these
I
guys
think you're
out
right.
there on the field before I give him the benefit of the doubt that he's listening up. I mean,
So you're saying the coaches aren't getting it?
no, I really don't think they are, especially considering that Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown did play good in the preseason. And I know it's not the same thing, but all they can do is play against the players that they're pitted up against. And they looked well. They looked good. And I think that they deserve a shot to at least prove that they can do it.
right.
I saw this while we're talking about the offensive line. I saw this on Reddit today. So shout out to Knave_of_knives who posted this on Reddit. And the title of the post is "How bad is our offensive line? ? A statistical look." He goes on to say, "I've been waiting to post this until the official stats were recorded, submitted to Pro Football Reference for Darnold. For those that do not know, Pro Football Reference is an aggregator site that keeps track of stats. All right, we know where Pro Football Reference is, or at least I do. It's one of the most important tools I believe that's available to us. Where PFF, he says, gives arbitrary grades, Pro Football Focus focuses specifically, PFR, Pro Football Reference, focuses specifically on the objective stats of the game. I bring this up because I've seen PFF grades for this offensive line and thought they were extremely off base in terms of what is actually happening on the field. There's no way that Matt Paradis should be a near 70 out of 100 as a blocker. That's absurd. Now, more kudos, I guess, to this post is we've seen some crazy stats about how these guys played at times, and then we're like, man, this looks terrible, right? So this is what he's referencing is this ongoing grading conversation that's going on the internet. Anyway, he says the eye test alone will prove that, and I'm not sure where PFF gets their grades. It goes on to say is basically our offensive line is being misrepresented as good in some capacity, I think is what ultimately I don't think
You're
that's what he is
that, yeah.
saying. And but then he says this is let's look at these stats for Sam Darnold's career. Right. So and I don't know what you guys think about PFF. Like, I mean, some people it's like a flogging boy. I don't really care. I don't pay for anything on the internet.
No. Yeah, I don't either.
So I don't even know what your advanced stats are. But if your regular stats ain't that cool, then I ain't trying to find your advanced stats. But this is what they go on to say this. Here, can you see this, Cody?
Yeah.
Look at this. Is my man with the Jets. Right now, the offensive line for the Carolina Panthers in all these statistical categories is outpacing the Jets for being worse in Sam Darnold's career.
You know how hard that is to have offensive lines worse than the fucking Jets, dude. That's embarrassing,
Look at
man.
it.
That's
Look
embarrassing.
at these numbers.
That's really embarrassing. And
Right
listen,
now,
I'm really go ahead.
Right now, this is like the highest number of times that Sam Darnold was blitzed with the Jets was in 2019 with 166. Right, that's a full season. He didn't play a full season in 2020, but he played a full season 2019, or I think he did. That may have been the mono year. Right now, he's on pace to be blitzed more times this year in Carolina than he was for the Jets. Highest number of times hurried with the Jets was 69 in 2018. Right now, he's on pace for 72 with Carolina. Highest number of hits with the Jets, 2019, 39 hits. Right now, Sam Darnold's on pace for 68, getting hit 68 times. Now, it is a 17-game season, so let's shave 4 like, what do you want to, like, what's the number that makes you happy? Like, so what is that, 64 rather than 68? The pocket time, he had more pocket time with the 2019 Jets than he's had with the 21 Carolina Panthers. On top of that, highest number of times pressured, 135 times with the 2019 Jets. He's on pace for 187 times with the Carolina Panthers. Again, keep in mind, 17 games. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this, is that the media is asking Darren Gant, the damn Panthers reporter, is even saying, what are we going to do about this personnel? Matt Rhule's like, well, we're going to the tape. We're going to try to figure it out. And we go to these numbers right here, Cody, and what we found out is that this offensive line, it's not good. It's bad. And it might be horrific. It might.
We're not finding out, though. It's just confirming what we already knew.
Yeah.
It's confirming what we already knew, and this is our fear going into the season. We knew this forever ago. I mean, listen, that's why this is baffling to me. Most of Panther fans knew this. People who don't get paid to do anything with this team, people just like you and me, people that are fans, we knew that this offensive line was going to be a problem just by looking at their past with the prior football teams that they've been at. Yep. Pat Elflein was a part of that terrible New York Jets team once upon a time. Ooh. Cam Irving, dude, Cowboys fans were baffled that Cam Irving is a starting left tackle for us. Okay, this is not a good situation.
He's not even been the worst dude on this team, so I don't even want to hear it.
And frankly, my real fear for this coaching staff when it comes to their talent evaluation, and I've said this before, is I think that they adhere to a lot of really old, dumb stereotypes in scouting. So, for example, we could have a left tackle on our hands in Brady Christensen, but they think his arms are a half an inch too short or whatever bullshit, so they don't even want to give him an opportunity.
That's what Fitterer thinks, though. Fitterer's a guy that does that, too, though.
And what I'm here to tell you is that is an outdated philosophy. Look at what Rashawn Slater is doing as the left tackle for the Chargers. Look, Jordan Gross didn't have long arms. Joe Thomas didn't have long arms. Like, I want to see you have a trait. If you have a trait that's being used as a negative against you, I want to see that matter on film. I want to see times on film where your arm length was a problem when going up against the bull rush or whatever. But that's never really been an issue for him. And then it goes back to this thing with Deontay Brown. Maybe if his weight isn't where it needs to be, then that's a problem. But other than that, we've known that the man has been incredibly dedicated, has dropped a lot of pounds, and that he's really been trying to be good at this. I don't know why you don't give these guys a shot. There's no way that what you've seen them do in practice is worse than what these guys have been putting out there on the field thus far. And it baffles me, and frankly, it worries me, if I'm being very honest with you.
Shame.
CK, you know what time it is, brother. Let them know. Let them know.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have not hit that like button, that thumbs up, letting us know that you care about us. We need that self-affirmation. Hit the thumbs up. This is for you. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 98 people watching. 58 thumbs up. Do your boys a favor. Hit that like button. Make sweet love to that subscribe button and give some gentle pets to that notification bell to get updates every single time your boys go live, talking about these Carolina Panthers, answering your questions, talking about the real relevant things to this football team right here, right now. Before we go any further, shout out to the 2 donations. We got one from David Screws. David says, hopefully this coaching staff will wake up and start Deontay and Brady. Could not agree with you more, man. And then JB with the $4.99. He says, should be signed Jalen Smith. Certainly a question that will persist until Jalen finds a new home. So,
Or
shout
until
out
we
to those
find
guys.
some linebackers.
Well, he would be one of them.
Thank you so much for your support. We don't ask for the money, but Cody, we sure do.
Appreciated.
We appreciate it. That's right. We want to hear your thoughts on the state of the Carolina Panthers. It's almost kind of like the quarter semester report card at this point, 4 weeks in. We'd love to hear what you guys think about this team after that loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Was this something that is going to galvanize this Panthers team into something stronger? And I do think there's sort of an opportunity for that. But right now, for me, I am continuing to be concerned about these injury issues and now how they're threatening the continuity of our best strength, which was the defense, and how this Carolina Panthers team will respond given the fact that the offensive line is sorry without injury. And that's what we need to remember here is we're talking about the defense facing injury, and that's what's screwing up the continuity. The problem facing this offensive line is that it is the offensive line that it is. The number is 252-228-5098. We want you to be a part of the show, and hopefully I got this. Actually, I barely got it queued up tonight, so you guys, it's going to be a little janky. But we'll get into these calls for a second and see what you guys got to say.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Told you, janky is coming. Speed up, internet. I wasn't ready. I started without being ready.
Oh, boys. I am more excited for this team than I have ever been.
Oh, shit.
This call is all positive vibes. This is positive vibes only. There's plenty of people who are calling me angry, blah, blah, whatever. I fucking love this team's fight. From day one, they play against the Jets. They got a big lead. They start to lose it. 19-14. What do? They run it down their throat.
Colorado
in the
Dave,
game
I
with
think,
the ball
or
in their
something
hand.
like that.
Saints, no adversity. Texans, our worst quarter of the season, the second quarter. What's happened in the next half? No punts the next half. We come right back out. We come into the Cowboys. We fucking punch them in the mouth, and then they try to deliver the knockout blow.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what Philly did. What happened to Philly? They started to lose, and they just started to spiral. They just started to keep losing. I mean, oh my God! Like, ooh, Sam Darnold. The way the post game press conferences, man. The way Matt Rhule talks, he just talks about the way he talks about giving the guys a chance, and like, we're going into Dallas. We know who we're playing. Like, balls to the wall. We're fucking going for it. You know what? You need a kick. If people are upset about that thing Gonzalez kick, this is the time to do it. You know, if you can't make it in week 4, he's not going to make it in week 12. So we might as well just keep running it out there and see what we got for now. Darnold right after the game saying people are pissed, saying people are ready, but not angry, not down. They're ready to go watch film. They're ready to get back. And I'm telling you, this team, if this coaching staff is really what I believe it is, which I really believe in Matt Rhule and this whole entire staff. I mean, these guys, they're going to come out, and I think they're going to beat the living shit out of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think if they play the way I think they will, man, I'm excited. And J.C. Horn, we really found out how big. I think he's a really big part of stopping the run game. I could have been wrong. Maybe I'm not a football expert, but I really thought that was a big miss. And getting C.J. Henderson, oh my goodness, man. I'm telling you, I know that offensive line.
It's like Xanax G Baby.
McCaffrey, I'm telling you, we got the pieces.
It's like
it's kind of all over the place.
G-Baby.
I thought this call was going to be much better, but I am really excited for this football team. I know I've said that so many times. I kind of ran out of what I was going to say, but have a
Is he
good
on Adderall? I feel like this dude's on Adderall.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it, dude. I love the positivity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and listen, okay, we know this offensive line is bad, but to put it into context, Sam Darnold had his third game in a row of throwing for more than 300 yards. Behind this terrible offensive line, Tony Dunn, you just spelled out for everyone how you can say that this Panthers offensive line is on track to be worse than the Jets offensive line that was pass protecting for Sam. The fact that Sam has continued to be able to put up these kinds of performances, granted, I know you haven't been thoroughly in love with them, but the fact that Sam has been able to put up these kinds of performance and get DJ Moore the ball enough times that now we're actually starting to see him as that true number one wide receiver that we've long believed him to be. Like, do you realize that we have a ton of potential to do far more than we've done so far? We just have to be better in a few important ways. But I think this defense can get back on track. And I think our offense has the capability to continue to get better as well. But it involves Deontay Brown and it involves Brady Christensen. And shout out to RA53 in the chat room. And you guys can all vouch for this. I've been saying for a while that I think that we should continue to experiment using Taylor Moton at left tackle and put Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen on the right tackle or on the right side at right guard and right tackle. I think that might be what the doctor ordered, and I think Taylor could potentially play left tackle in a full-time scenario. So I love the positivity, man. I love the fact that we were able to respond, and we need more of this, man. Our season is not over, and we're still at the top of the NFC South. That's important.
I love it. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, it's Tyler from Spruce Pine. I don't know if I'm calling and it's going to be on the post-game show because I'm a little bit late on it, but I did just want to say that I think what this game showed us is that there's tiers to this game, and where we may not be on the bottom tier, we may not even be on the one above the bottom, but I think we're right above the middle of the pack. I think Dallas is among those top tier teams in the NFL. Their offense is unreal. They can do a lot of different things with that offensive line that they have. But typically, I think it takes Matt Rhule 3 years to build a program that's among those top tier teams. And I don't think that we're there yet, but I do think that we're on the right trajectory to get there. We got to shore up this offensive line in the offseason. Whether the answers are already on the roster or not, I think it says something that the coaching staff has made Deontay Brown inactive ever since the beginning of the season. He may have looked good in the preseason, but there's been plenty of players that have looked good in the preseason, and it's not really panned out for them in regular season play. Look at Zach Wilson. So, not to say he's not going to be good, but I think there's a huge learning curve for rookies that maybe we are better off just throwing them out there and saying, you can't be any worse than what we already have, which is the God's honest truth. So, I just think that Scott Fitter needs to work a little bit of magic in the offseason to fix this offensive line, and I don't know if it can happen in a year. But I do think that we're on the right projection. And I think that Matt Rhule's got this program going in the right direction, because if you remember when Rivera was at the helm, I think since probably 2016, we started going downhill. And I think we're on the rise now, which I'm optimistic about, but I'm also disappointed in today's outcome because I was a little too excited for the game today. I talked a little too much smack, and that's going to come back to bite me tomorrow. So, yeah, guys, keep pounding.
Keep pounding, man. Keep pounding. Real quick, shout out from Down Under. CK's man Spectre One Actual says some Down Under love, lads. P.S. I have no idea about NFL, but just here to support some Dizzle and you boys. Shout out to
thank
you,
you, man.
brother.
Much love.
Appreciate it,
Thank you.
man. And yeah, listen, the caller pinpointed on something that I think our ego doesn't want to do enough. And that's just flat out admit that we lost to a damn good football team. Yeah, it's the Cowboys. Yeah, their fans are fucking annoying. We know it. But the Cowboys are one of the better teams in football. They went toe-to-toe with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Eagles like we're about to do, potentially even bigger than they did. And then, listen, we made it competitive against the Cowboys at the very end. So, again, man, it's like, yeah, they were the better team. That's a good football team. And as far as losses go, that's actually a good loss against a good football team.
Yeah.
And it's early. It gives us enough
I
time
don't
to
know if
learn
I'd say
about
good. We
ourselves.
got that man. I don't know. Is that like was the end score close enough for it to be a good loss for us? We had some fight at the end. I do like that. That third quarter smoke was so hard for me to take. But I want to ask you this about that. This great team, right? This great Dallas team. Is their defense good enough? Because I tell you this is that if they beat us like that with their off, like on the run game, they didn't even have to use their receivers. Barely.
Yeah.
I mean, and somehow Dak still threw 3 touchdowns. Like I felt like the run is what just beat the shit out of us. And then Dak, I looked it up and Dak still got 3 touchdowns. I don't even get it. But what I'm saying is this is that like I didn't even feel like we felt the full onslaught of their offense in a way. So if their offense is that good, right, to beat us up and make us feel like, we just got smacked around, is their defense good enough to take them deep? Like deep into, because that offense clearly is, right? Like if you're Dallas right now, you're starting to think about this is how do we make our defense good enough to win us a Super Bowl this year? That's what I would be thinking if I was their GM.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'll tell you after week 6, week 7. Hey, if you've been following the podcast, you know that's my tried and true rule for separating the good and bad. Wait until after week 6 and week 7, and that's when you're going to start to see who the real teams in football are. Right now, you're still kind of separating the good from the bad. Like the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-2, and statistically, they are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So again, these things are still kind of sorting themselves out. Who knows?
But you saw the Dallas defense, man. I think they're better than, I mean, like, how good is their defense? I think it's pretty good, man. They got the Diggs kid. They got a good corner. They've got Dan Quinn, who's got this resurgence. They're trying to use Micah Parsons in this weird fashion that is actually working. That what you wanted to see Isaiah Simmons be used as or something like that last year, I would think. Like this multiple. They use him as a pass rusher when someone's hurt. Now they use him as a linebacker. That defense to me is actually, my question is, are they good or did we just, were we not good? I think they're pretty good, man.
I do think I think they're a good football team.
I think there's still a lot of questions.
Defense, though. The defense is what I'm asking. You saw them.
Well, again, we were not able to give them the kind of performance that we would have likened to have given them.
Right.
Because,
they are. All right, I'll give you that. Because, they just ran up on us. That is fucked up when you just run up somebody like that.
I think it was Justin, and Justin's in the chat room. We were having this conversation in the post game. Like, they were able to bite down on all of those routes and even cut them off at times because they knew that there wasn't going to be enough time for Sam Darnold to really drop back and throw the football. I mean, he had to really get the ball out of his hands. So that allowed their defensive backfield to play faster.
Do you think Sam Darnold should be exonerated? Because I see a lot of the football heads out there now being like, oh, look at how much Sam Darnold holds onto the football. And that they're like, this line isn't that bad or whatever. Should Sam Darnold be exonerated in this game?
No, I don't think any of us would. I mean, I don't think he deserves the majority of the blame. right? But I do believe that he deserves at least a fair share of the
Partial.
a partial, of the blame to it, because I mean there is a reality to it. I mean, Cody even alluded to it early in the game. His pocket presence, it has been questionable in a lot of different areas. I mean, I will say it's better than I had anticipated it to be, but you will see those head scratcher moments, and you're really hoping that's something he can kind of move past and turn away from. But it's hard to say that that's going to be a reality when we haven't really seen the consistency. We've seen him be better than I think anybody was expecting him to be. And that's something that I think we should take and realize that maybe there's still some growth for him. But yeah, he's not exonerated in this at all.
When Cody ever say a mean thing about
he
Sam
tweeted
Darnold?
it. He tweeted it. He said
He
that
never said nothing negative about Sam Darnold.
He talked about how
Sam,
his pocket presence was questionable at best.
That
had
first
to use
sack,
the bathroom at that point.
That first sack and that first drive, that first offensive drive, to me that was on Sam. If he would have rolled out to his right, he had opportunities to make something happen downfield.
Wow, look at you.
And he had the opportunity to do that. And listen, if anything, I think my criticism of him lines up a little bit with your criticism of him, Tony. You were upset with those fumbles that could have potentially cost us more points against the Houston Texans. And my point is that those two things are related. If you're not aware of where the pressure is coming from and you're too homed in and you don't have a good pocket presence, well, yeah, those defensive linemen, they're training to not just sack you and tackle you. They're going after the football. They're trying to bat the football out of your hands and create fumbles and turnovers and get the ball back. And if you don't have good pocket awareness, then yeah, that's going to continue to come back to bite us. By the way, is this real?
Fuck with us? Doesn't that fuck with us though? Because is that real? I hope so. All right, before we go on to this, while you snoop it or whatever it's fucking called, what we've done is we've congratulated Sam Darnold all season about being able to move and manipulate the pocket, like this subtle footwork and this and that. So are we being contradictory at that point when we're saying like he's been very great at moving the pocket, and then on the other hand we're saying, and I have been saying, is you got to feel that pocket awareness? Like, is there a difference, and is it true?
I'm not seeing anything about it anyway.
Panthers buzzed out there trolling like a motherfucker. Look, this ass.
Bro, like, can you, Tony? You retweeted it. You forget how
I know.
how many times
we're all just trying to see if Urban Meyer got fired. Hey, all right, how about this? Fuck that. Let's talk about that. Do you think that he should be fired?
No.
Where do you guys stand on the Urban Meyer shit?
I actually do. And you know why,
what a
man?
bitch. Stop.
You know why?
You can't be that. You're not the person.
Urban Meyer's a bitch. Urban Meyer's the one who's a bitch. He thought that he would be able to come into the NFL and do just like he did in college, and all he had to do was recruit and talk to students. Keep in mind, this guy was at the premier colleges in football. Okay, whenever he would go into a recruit's house as the Ohio State head coach or the Florida head coach, yeah, dude, he got the best recruits in the country.
You better watch out.
Because they all wanted to go to the big time schools.
Hell
When it comes to actually being like a chess player coach who's trying to dissect opposing defenses and offenses and come up with the best game plan to win, Urban Meyer isn't it, dude. And the fact that he's now already being talked about as being a one and done, like that's a further indictment on this guy.
People were already talking about that before he even started, though.
And for it to flame out this fast, yeah, dude, that's 100. Apparently, by the way, all the coaches or all the players in the locker room, no one has respect for him. After he apologized for his night out on the town, apparently after he walked out of the room, the entire team started to laugh at him. Like bust out.
Of course they laughed at him. What would you do?
Dude, that guy's lost it, man. If the team doesn't trust him, you have to fire.
I disagree. I didn't even like him before. Now I'm cheering for him. This poor guy. Telling you.
Got caught you know, grind. I don't know.
He got caught grinning at a girl. You know what I'm saying? He got caught with a buzz. That was it. He got caught with a buzz. That was it. He got caught with a buzz.
I hear there was more than one video, and not all of them. Like some of them were pretty damning on him. I've heard. I haven't watched any of them, but I heard that there were other videos that were released that were much worse than him being grinded on by that girl.
Okay, well, I haven't seen those. I just saw that one, and I would say this is he got caught with a buzz. What I think Cody is right about, though, in a way, is that when you were the head coach of Ohio State or Florida and you walk into somebody's living room, you're like a demigod in a way. Like you have these scholarships at your
opportunities. You're
you have these scholarships at your disposal. You've got a team of people that's following you in here.
People kissing your feet, really.
Yeah, and you're gonna bring the media with you. You know, you have this aura to you. But when you become an NFL, the NFL head coach is kind of like a bitch in comparison to a college head. I mean, maybe I don't know, at a high profile, because first of all, you got the GM who is above you. Right? Like if you're the head coach at Ohio State, do you really think the athletic director is that much ahead of you? Like you're like, oh, there's my boss. If you've been winning national championships, you don't give a fuck about that athletic director. You're like, I am this mug. Right? You walk up. Like, do you think Nick Saban worries about when he sees the athletic director like saying, yes, sir, he's my boss?
No, Nick, he's the big man on campus, dude. That's my point.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think there's some genius in that. But now Urban Meyer, you put him in a setting, and I think this is where all maybe NFL head coaches may be in this like bitch role. Like they're like vice presidents in a case, because number one, they got a GM that's above them. Number two, number one above that is they got a billionaire fucking owner above them. Right? So like you ain't the top dog on the planet. You are just the top dog out of the players.
Well,
sorta.
I agree, but I disagree. I've heard it said one time before that like when it comes to movies, people think that the producer has all the power, and technically they do, but it's actually the directors who have the final say so with everything.
But that's like in game planning, though. But like at the end of the day, this dude got a video that made him embarrassed. How about this? If it was David Tepper in that video, guess what would be happening? Nothing. We'd just be moving on to business. But the fact is Urban Meyer's used to be in the top of the top, and at this point, he's just like.
But it would also be different if it was
team.
It would also be different if it was like Pete Carroll or Mike Tomlin. You know, one of these guys that are continuously mentioned as one of the better coaches in the NFL. Like Urban Meyer hasn't proven shit to anyone. Then he's bringing up Trevor Lawrence's name in the press conference too. Like, oh,
what did he say in that? What did he say in here?
Yeah, so he was like, for Trevor's honeymoon, I heard that Trevor was going to Las Vegas with his wife, and I was like, oh, you have to be careful, man. Surround yourself.
Why is he saying that? Why is he saying that? Like right in the one where he's getting in trouble? The same press conference?
No, he gave a press conference with the Jaguars, and he mentioned this. Like he said this. Yeah, he's trying to deflect. I don't know. I've never liked the guy personally. I'm just not a fan. I think he's showing his true colors. And I think Matt Rhule, considering the fact that he went to Baylor and Temple, he was never at these big time powerhouse colleges, I think that lended better to him being an NFL head coach, because he knew that he was at the bottom of the totem pole from jump and that he had to earn everything. His name wouldn't do anything for him.
Urban has always been a hotbed of issues. Whether you thought that, like, if you were the one person in the history of the world that just said, it follows him around, it's not him or something. Like, first of all, that person is ridiculous, because it's been everywhere he's gone that there has been something going on, whether it be from the very first moment he walked into the NFL, the coach that he hired was part of the beat up scandal at Ohio State. Like, even after 10 years of crazy storyline, the first thing he does when he goes to the Jaguars is hire the guy that's under investigation or got kicked off at Ohio State. Like, I mean, it is just drama surrounding this cat all the time, dude. I don't even know how. And how can you forgive him more than you forgive other people that we've dealt, like these names we can't name on a podcast, but these are he's like a Slytherin, dude. That's what he is. Is that ridiculous? Is that
you really hit him with a Harry Potter reference? His house Slytherin?
I think so.
Yeah, dude, he's a big dork, man.
All right, let's go to the next call. It's not a dork, man.
Fellas, what's happening?
He's a fucking dork.
Or whenever it is I'm calling. This is AJ. Just want to give you a couple thoughts on the game. So that we lost this game. I'm not necessarily mad or anything. Really showed how young we are on the back end of our defense. A lot of confusion, a lot of miscommunication going on in that game.
Good call.
That really hurt us.
Good point. I want to stop it right here and just tell you this. Saying young is correct and accurate at this point, but at the same time, we were missing the guys that were supposed to be playing. And Shaq Thompson said this, I think, after the game or at some point that communication was the issue. Maybe they said that in the game before, but when you saw these guys, there was two people on the same route, right? There was miscommunication back there. It is part being young, but that being young was by necessity because we were also hurt. We'll keep going through with the call.
But what the biggest flaw in this game was that offensive line was just really
trash.
Exposed. To where you would see plays where, and I know Taylor got beat a few times, but a lot of times he would be holding his own on the outside and everything on the inside would just be
collapsed, dude.
Gone. And Sam Darnold, poor fella. I mean, I felt like he played, considering what he had to go through the majority of the game, he played great. Yeah, he played good. Would have been nice to hit on some of them deep balls, but I'll tell you what, if we didn't have DJ Moore, man, we'd really be struggling. 50-50 balls, if he ever throws them, I mean, it's obvious Robbie Anderson can't get up over nobody. I think it's time to start looking towards Marshall a little bit more. He was open a few times, especially one deep on one of his interceptions. Marshall was wide open. And, but anyway, it sucks we lost, but I think we're going to be okay. The problem we have is we got to figure out a way to get this offensive line better. And Kellen Moore took Joe Brady to school in the third quarter, for sure. Joe Brady's got some work to do, man. I've always thought he was good, but I don't know. He's getting his tail spanked out there by the other offense.
There's a lot to unpack on this call right there. I'm going to start with the back end real quick. We're not going to over talk about it, but Kellen Moore been with Dak Prescott for 3 years now. Joe Brady, second-year offensive coordinator with second quarterback. And do we say Joe Brady took that Kellen Moore took Phil Snow to school at that point, and Joe Brady has failed to go to school for his entire time in the third quarter, right? Like, I mean, our offense just doesn't show up in the third quarter. So I feel like Joe Brady's just been skipping school the whole point and at this point. But let's go back to this DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson stuff. And this is related to Joe Brady. We've said over and over that they listen to the internet. They listen to the internet. For a few weeks now, people are saying Robbie Anderson has not been involved enough in this Panthers offense. And then against the Cowboys, it really felt like they were near force feeding him at times. right? Is like this. We are making Robbie Anderson part of the game plan. But DJ Moore, once again, establishes himself as a top tier, just incredible type receiver. The caller, though, says Robbie Anderson doesn't go up for it. Let's get Terrace Marshall Jr. involved more. But Matt Rhule, after the game, also, who was celebrating DJ Moore, said that that the younger kids like Terrace Marshall Jr. need to learn from his intensity. So, I feel like it's the easy answer to say, let's go Terrace Marshall Jr. Where does the storyline fall? Is it Robbie Anderson forced game plan disappointment? Terrace Marshall Jr. Tell me, what should I gather from this?
I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, you might like maybe not like my answer, but I don't think we were force feeding Robbie at all. I just don't think we could get the ball to him. Like, he was wide open on that deep pass, like wide open.
Yeah, he was.
And we couldn't get
the
ball
went to him a lot in this game, though. Like, we haven't gone to him at all for the first 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, we're talking about it for 3 weeks, and then they throw it to him 9 times in the first 2 quarters.
I mean, listen, I mean, you got to keep in mind, he's our number 2 wide receiver, meaning their number 1 cornerback was on DJ Moore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you this. And I'll ask both of you this, because I remember Greg Olson mentioned this during the broadcast. He said that sometimes coaches and OCs can do this thing where it's like, okay, we want to get this player more involved in the game plan, and we want to make it a point to get them the ball more. And that sometimes in and of doing that, you kind of make a mistake, because a lot of times it shouldn't be forced. It should actually be a natural
That's
thing.
what I'm trying to say.
That's it. When Greg Olson said it brilliantly on the broadcast, and he said to that point that he feels like Sam Darnold has just really made a special connection with DJ Moore, and that he trusts DJ, and that him and DJ are on the same timing, and they're just hitting on all cylinders. And if you have that really good connection brewing, and you have DJ making some big time plays when it matters the most, well, instead of trying to get it to Robbie just to get him involved, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If DJ Moore is the guy, if he's finally ready to have his number 1 wide receiver season, then do it, man. Let him have it, and let's just continue on about it. And I think the opportunities to spread the ball around are going to inevitably come up no matter what. We got Brandon Zylstra a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just need to continue to let these plays happen, and I think we're going to be okay.
This is where, though, I think the force feeding Robbie came in this week. And I'm a guy that wants Robbie to get the ball as much as possible. I love this dude. My favorite. 11s, bro. All about it. But the first couple of weeks, what they do? Week 1, they rush Christian McCaffrey, 30 carries, right? What do? Callers come on the show. People all over. Man, I can't believe you're using Christian McCaffrey this much. I can't believe you're the next week or whatever. We go out there and we intentionally put Chuba Hubbard in more snaps. Like, you could see it. It was like they were like, you know what? They right. Let's do this. Right. So then what are we talking about now? We're talking about these same things that all of a sudden the last 2 weeks it's just DJ getting fed. DJ getting fed. Where's Robbie Anderson? That's what people have been talking about. Now we come out there and they're just force feeding Robbie Anderson. Not force feeding, but like, it's clear. The last week they said, oh, we just try to, like, we want him to do whatever comes to him, this and that. And then this week it does really feel like plays are dialed up for Robbie. Like, last week it felt DJ. Now it felt like, man, it did feel like that was his first look. I've been saying it. First look.
I've been saying
and then now we also get the offensive line joint where the man is like, well, now we got to go back and look at the tape. They are reactive. This coaching staff is reactive.
Yeah.
They're listening to us.
And that's where I was telling you, I feel like that, again, this is my criticism of what this coaching staff has done with Sam Darnold. Whereas, when he has been allowed to improvise, it's worked out, right? But it feels like they have basically taken the game plan or taking the ball game out of his hands and put it into like this, this is your read, go to your first read, and that's why he stares down his receivers, and that's why he might hold on to the ball a little bit too long, is because,
or is that just who he is?
I mean, it could be, but it also, you could see it force fed. I mean, do we think that this is all Rob? I mean, could this all just be Sam Darnold then?
No, I don't think it's all or either. I just feel like it's too much, like either way. Like, and what I'm saying by that is that, I like when Robbie is a big part of the game, but it was working in the first 3 weeks without him. Like, it's going to come, like Cody says, like it will come. But I feel like at this point that even the staff is getting a little nervous. And that it's like, we have to dial up Robbie this week. We got to dial up Robbie this week. I just really felt like what I saw the game plan be on the field was very similar to just the headlines that I heard in the radio prior to going into the game. And that, I don't know what to say about it. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I don't even need to make Robbie happy right now because he got paid. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if he don't have, I don't want to hear about Robbie Anderson not being happy. He only had 1 catch. I don't give a fuck, man. My just got whatever money. Like, you don't get a cat, you don't get a cry about, and he's not. He's not. I'm just trying to say, I'm looking at every little piece of evidence too much at this point. And I need you, Cody, to pull me out of this vortex and get me back on track against Philly.
Well, listen, I mean, I don't necessarily know how great of a defensive front that Philly has, but I think going back to that timing and rhythm thing, like DJ Moore has been really good between that 10, 15-yard distance, right? But let's keep it a buck, man. The fact of the matter is, whoever the deep threat receiver is for the Carolina Panthers is never going to have an opportunity to get into a good rhythm with the quarterback, no matter who it is, until we fix this fucking O-line, dude. It was the same thing with Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel was supposed to be our deep shot receiver.
You could run a 4-1. You could run a 4-0. You could run a 4-0 flat. It don't matter. Is that like if he gets sacked in 1 second?
It don't matter for shit. You're there to keep the defense honest, but be lucky if you ever get the ball. And now I feel like, listen, Sam, Hugo up next in the chat mentioned it too. Sam hasn't been great at making those deep ball passes, but I also don't think it would continue to be a problem if Sam had enough time to be able to form that downfield connection with Robbie Anderson. I mean, we already saw it in week 1 when there was a bunch of pressure in Sam Darnold's face. He was able to step up and air the ball out and get it to Robbie. And I think that can continue to happen, but we just have to, we have to have pass protection, and that is something that we're sorely in need of. And then once we do that, I think that Sam to Robbie Anderson can be the kind of connection that we all thought it would once we reunited these two.
We should be sending all these fools deep, but the problem is we can't send nobody deep because they're all getting sacked. That's the thing is, you're right, is that it doesn't matter how fast you are down the field. If your quarterback is getting hit before you can get off the line of scrimmage, it doesn't matter. The number is 252-228-5098.
My podcast brothers, how you doing?
What's up, G?
RCA. Hey, man. Yeah, I still can't believe you lost to the Cowboys, man. That game, man, that was just an off day for us, man. Because I don't give a damn what nobody says. To me, Dallas is overrated, and I will say that forever. I caught so much hell at my job. All these damn Dallas Cowboys fans was talking shit because I have an ID that I wear around my neck with a lanyard. My lanyard is a Carolina Panthers lanyard, you know. But anyway, man, I think one of our main issues, and you said it a while back, Cody, is our damn offensive line, man. And I was looking on Twitter, and I forgot the dude's name, but what he said was true. We should put that dude in from Auburn and Christian in. What can be damn worse? I swear, we drafted those dudes for a reason.
That's your guy.
Put them in. put them in. But I really see us winning the next 4 games. I really, really do. And I still think we're going to make the damn playoffs. And if we make the damn playoffs, we're going to be deadly as hell. Phil Snow will clean up what needs to be cleaned up. So I'm really not even worried. Just Dallas just got, I ain't saying they got lucky, but they ran the ball down our damn throats. And a lot of daggone calls, that one fumble from Dallas tight end, that should have been our damn ball. But anyway, y'all, keep it.
All right, let's go to this. Let's talk about it. We haven't talked about it since the post game. I do feel like we were really invested in that fumble. It could have changed the tide, bro. Is that I know that people say that we don't want to talk about referee calls, and I'm not even saying referee calls, but there's a difference between walking into the half up 1 point and walking up 10 points and getting the ball back, or whatever it could have been. That fumble then leads to a touchdown, I'm pretty sure, later on. If it doesn't, it sure felt like it.
It did.
You saw Joey Bosa. Was it Joey or Nick? You love the Bosas. You tell me which one came out. With the guy that has blonde hair and a brown mustache that played last night. He looks ridiculous.
Yeah, Joey Bosa.
Joey, he looks terrible, man. Like, why are your hair in your mouth? It doesn't look right. And then he comes out and he says this. He said, and you know what? He's the first dude. He looks like a giant steroid Joe Dirt. That's what he looks like to me. He looks like a steroid version of Joe Dirt. Comes out though and finally says what we all say on the podcast: these refs fucking pathetic.
He said,
"I'm sorry." Yeah, oh yeah, he's gonna be a fine. Hell yeah,
dude.
But
if I was an NFL player,
is that
I would
like
have
tie this conversation together for us? Then
I do. If I was an NFL player, just like what's old buddy for the Saints, Cam Jordan, just like he relishes in an opportunity to talk shit, dude. I would be talking so much shit if I was an NFL player. Like, whenever I got the opportunity to talk shit, I feel like I would want to, just to push people's button to make them more mad on the field. I don't know. I kind of like that. But hey, I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss this. David Screws with the $5. He said, coaching. He said, I was trying to say in my super chat, coaching staff, if you're listening, go no huddle.
Yep.
Speed it up.
Yeah.
CK, do you think that the Bosa cat's gonna? What do you think about that moment?
I mean, I don't think anybody can disagree with what he said, right? But I do think that anytime you come out and call a ref, call the officiating out, like even as a coach, you typically you're gonna get fined for it. It sounds stupid because like it is true what they say. Like the next day you'll get a letter from the NFL say sorry, but it doesn't do shit. So
do you think that was? Do you think that we should get fined today when we say that fucking forward progress call is bullshit and we got fumbled? I know you don't think we should get fined, but
hell no.
What the hell about that call, man? Like, what are we gonna do when we're on the road? We're playing great, not great. We're playing pretty well in that first half, right? I mean, you walk in there up a point. If you think those games change the momentum, they change the dichotomy of the game. And sadly, it brings me back to an old Ron Rivera discussion of there's 2 or 3 plays that dictate the whole game. And that one was one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, the problem is like that was a tide turner. Like that was the difference between us going into the half, possibly with an even greater lead, but if nothing else, at least with the lead of 14-7. There was so much opportunity that we could have had with that to make sure that third quarter didn't end up going as crazy as it did. But now we're stuck here, man. We're in a position where we're just constantly having to look back, and it would have been so much worse had that happened at the end of the game. And that was the end. Like that was how they got their first down or something.
Right.
Like that
which actually
so
sucks because like in some ways that's true. It's almost like chess is like a mistake in the beginning doesn't make as much of a difference at the end as a mistake at the end, but still you're talking about a limited number of moves, a limited number of wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways, just because it's at the beginning shouldn't let us let it off the hook.
Right.
Is that a bad call on the last play of the game and the bad call on the first play of the game are still bad calls. But you are right. At the end of the game, they gain like this kind of piece momentum. If you play chess, you will see you want to get a piece advantage, and as you get a piece advantage, each move then becomes exponentially more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to these, let me ask you this: can you make it better? Can you make and what I mean by that is that human error will always exist. But is there a way that we aren't talking about this as much as fans? Is there like truly can you not incrementally make it better by us not being upset by something that we can all see?
I mean, the only thing that we really can do is to do what we are doing right now. One, using this podcast to facilitate this flow of ideas, man. Like, again, it baffles me that some of these things that we think are rudimentary, like playing the younger guys, like to our coaches, it's some fucking revolutionary concept. You know, it's like, I don't know. I don't understand it, man.
How can we make the NFL better? There's gotta. I mean, I'm not saying you give me an exact answer, but the idea is, it almost feels like that people are like, oh, and the NFL's like, you know what? We got the biggest dick in town. We don't give a fuck. We don't care if it's like got syphilis or whatever at times. Like they don't care. It's like, why can't you just make it better?
You know how they say death and taxes are the only things that are inevitable? Well, it's death, taxes, and referees fucking up no-brainer calls. Like, that's how it's going to be, man. You just have to learn to get over it, man, and no one wants to hear it. But it's just like when the Saints...
Do you not think that the AFL was onto something, though, when they had the extra person in the booth, and then they had that kind of, like, air official or stuff like this? It just felt like it was...
Well, aren't they doing that this year?
Yeah.
Aren't they doing that this year? They're trying to incorporate like sky judges and shit. Like,
yeah, we need that. Why not? I mean, it's so instantaneous. These guys just go and look at it on a TV screen anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like instant replay from 25 years ago where it had to be like walked over by a dude on a Magnavox TV or some shit like that. Like, they could... All the players look up on the fucking Jumbotron. Every single player looks up at the goddamn Jumbotron. That's how instantaneous it is. I feel like we can just get incrementally better at calls. You know, and what I would say is this is just not miss call, not make bad calls. I don't even want you to throw an extra flag for a call you missed. But when you make a bad call, I feel like they should be able to yank that flag off the field from the damn video
referee
box. Mm-hmm. So anyway, all right, 252-228-5098.
What it do, boys? It's your boy Mike. Fine gentlemen are doing fine on this fine Tuesday evening.
Doing wonderful, man.
All right. Let me get this out the way. So I heard, the last little post game show, I heard a lot of motherfuckers crying, and it's it's disheartening. It's I don't have any ill will towards these guys talking about firing coaches or who decide to name themselves after a baby with a G-string. You know what I'm saying? I was going to talk shit, but what? Why? Why stoop to that level? Why lay myself on the ground, hands, feet pounding on the ground like a baby who just got his diaper changed? You know what I'm saying? What are you crying about? It's all good. Your booty is clean. Okay. In other words, we're 3-1. All right. Still tied for first. It's like it's as if our record was in the negative. You know what I'm saying? Which isn't possible, but it's tiring, man. But I guess I'll just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? It's so here's the question, or here's the issue. Why I think they're not putting guys like Christensen and Deontay Brown in, who's not even active, is I don't think these guys are ready. You got Christensen playing a position he's not familiar with, and you got big old Brown, who I guess I'm assuming he can't keep his weight down, is why he's always inactive. So I think Rhule's going to keep rolling with the guys he's got because it's kind of working. But that's my take on the whole O-line issue. Keep pounding, boys. Tampa pride to last.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Mike, a.k.a. Supreme Lita. Love it, man. Dude, I feel like there's a unison, man. Like, all Panther fans are understanding that this needs to happen. But whether or not it actually will remains to be seen. I saw someone in the chat room earlier said that they disagree with me, too, about Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen. But it's like, I don't really understand how.
What is the alternative here?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what we're doing now isn't working.
That's the part. Agreed, Cody. I think what is the alternative? Like, I honestly want to know in the chat, anybody who has a disagreement, what is the alternative to trying to, like, do we keep on doing what we're doing now because that isn't working? Like, it's not working. You guys got to keep in mind, this happened on the Dallas defense that didn't even have their best defensive player in DeMarcus Lawrence. We're not talking about a situation where we just let up 5 sacks. They had 4 sacks all season in 3 different games. We gave up 5 sacks. That's a problem. And so it can't continue down the route that it is. So what is your solution for anybody who has a disagreement on that?
And I even mentioned this before too, the rumors about Deontay Brown being out of shape. Everything I've heard about him is that he's in good shape now and that he's lost a lot of weight and that he's continued to get better and better. Also RAS scores have been a big topic of discussion recently. I know I've heard Tony mention them. If you look at Brady Christensen's RAS scores, dude, he's one of the better tackle prospects to come out in a long time. In a really long time. And the fact that we're not playing Brady Christensen, it's a travesty to me, man. And I said earlier this season that something will have to happen in order for us to shuffle around the offensive line in the proper order. I'm hoping that something was Dallas. I really am. Because if that's what ends up happening, this is the most worth it loss that the Panthers could have possibly had.
Oh, the most worth it. That's a good way of putting it. And that's why people love you. The number is 252-228-5098. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Let's go into the next call.
Hey, guys. This is Chuck from Elizabeth City, a.k.a. Carolina Sports Guy.
What's up, my
I
man?
just wanted to nominate last year, being under Matt Rhule's first year as head coach, the disappointing player, the lifetime achievement for suckage, the Tahir Whitehead trophy. And this year we got neck and neck. I don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Pat Elflein, or is it going to be none other than Matt Paradis, because he sucks ass. He really does. One of those two guys is going to bring home the Tahir Whitehead Achievement Award loser of suckage.
I don't know about that. All right, so the thing I would say that Matt Rhule would say, the thing I would say about Matt Rhule would say is that he got stuck with damn Paradis. He brought Whitehead over. We can make Eflin part of the problem, I guess, because he was brought in free agency. But Paradis, dude, Cody, you've been after this for a minute. Last year, he was not awful. He was not the worst spot on this team. But at this point, this whole line is collapsing up the middle. It is collapsing up the middle, and you cannot help but look at Matt Paradis as not having Sundays in paradise. It's been awful. It says Sundays in the what's the opposite of paradise? Hell, because that's where it's been like for this dude.
Maybe Philadelphia.
Well done.
Damn, take that, motherfuckers. Love your cheesesteaks though. You know what, man? This is what I'll say.
No, whiz or no whiz. Come on, we're gonna ask our guest this week. Come on, there.
Oh man, I like the real
no
cheese,
whiz.
bro.
You better not get no goddamn cheese whiz on
No,
your
that's not
steak.
real cheese. No, man, you get the real shit, dude. I don't care.
That's what they do it at the.
By the way, I even have friends from Pennsylvania who say that same thing that you're saying. That like, oh, you go to Philly and it's like I can make all the tourists go there and they get the cheesesteaks with the whiz. That's not the real shit. And real people that are like living up there, they know that too.
That Pat and G knows.
Yeah, what are we talking about? I fucking completely lost my train.
We're talking about Matt Paradise. Living in Philadelphia.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm really trying to like be fair about this because I'm of two different mindsets. One, I continuously see Matt Paradis putting out less than stellar performances, giving up big time bull rushes in every game this year. But then I also know that the center is pretty much left on an island if the guards next to him aren't doing their jobs too. So do I think that Matt Paradis has been good? No, I don't. And then apparently PFF disagrees with me. Apparently a bunch of other people in Panther Nation think that Matt Paradis actually played a decent game against the Cowboys. I saw some guys from, well, like I said, PFF thinks that. I saw some guys from Four Man Rush.
I want them to come on this show. I want them to come on the show and tell us that that he played a good game. If they mean by pretty good game, less like a little bit less stinky than dog shit, then I would. That's one thing.
I might decide.
I want to hear this. All right, keep going.
No, I might decide, man. Like I'm not impressed with him, but I do think, I can't really speak a lot about Tecklenburg. Like a lot of people are now throwing him into another name of a guy that should be starting. And again, I don't know if that extends to everyone. I just know that I saw film from Alabama and BYU that I really liked from Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen. I don't really know a lot about Tecklenburg to say that he would represent an upgrade over Matt Paradis. So I'm willing to say that right now, if we're able to get in some better guard help, well, then, yeah, maybe Matt Paradis might be
of course, that would help everybody, wouldn't it?
Sure.
That's been my mindset with Matt Paradis for the majority of his time here. Is it's hard to and it's an argument I've made before. It's you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? If three people are able to just rush untouched on the left side, you're left kind of holding the bag, trying to stop people that not only your assignment but their assignment as well. Like you're going to be looking bad every time that happens as a center. And so, yeah, I agree. I think Cody's got it hits the nail on the head. I'm not prepared to say that he is bad, but has he played good? Has he shown us anything to indicate that he's good? No, not yet.
You can say he's bad. You can say he's bad, and you can also say that he's not worse than Tecklenburg.
Yeah.
Right. He can be. How about this? Is that you think the Carolina Panthers are going to be? This is his last year with the team. They ain't going no more. You think he's going to be on the team next year, huh, man? Nope.
I really don't, man. I really
Nope.
don't, man. And it sucks that we don't have those draft pieces that we are missing. And it does make me wonder what technique and approach Federer will take in our next draft, especially depending on where we're drafting. If he tries to trade back and recoup some of those picks, because we really do need a bunch of different offensive line positions. No, you're right. It's his last year.
So here's the other thing too, and to lend to your argument and not to take this too far though. Trey Boston was a great player. We want him on the show. Chat, get this guy on the C3 Panthers podcast. Y'all can do it. Chat, get him on here. But Trey Boston was a player that I thought was a very good football player, and it showed when he was on good football teams. And it was tough for him on bad football teams to showcase what his talent. And so I feel like this is that like his Paradis might be bad at this point in his career. Might be old, might be off. He won't that bad last year. He won't awful last year. But like you said, is that it's hard for him to not look as bad as he is amongst a big pile of poo-poo.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what we have around him right now.
Right.
So.
And it's just all coming like it is. I would be tell me one player that's made one good play on this offensive line. Like that you can or had a good game. And if you say Taylor Moton, then you're just saying it because you like his name and you know it. And he has been the best player out of these 5 mofos.
Easily.
But tell me, has anybody looked good?
There's that one time Christian McCaffrey picked up that big time block. That was a pretty good one. That was interesting.
That's a running back.
Yeah, you're thinking too much. No.
They look ridiculous. They kind of just look ridiculous.
You have to think of the offensive line as one big position. Like,
I'm ready for that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with
they
that.
play in tandem. And if you have one really good offensive lineman, even he's going to look like shit if everyone else is getting work.
I won't say shit. He won't look like shit.
Maybe not shit, but it can't look great. Not if everyone's getting just abused all the time.
I feel like we just been getting abused.
Hey, but how about this? No, let's have equal. I mean, let's give blame where blame is due. I've seen Taylor Moton get beaten this year too.
Right.
Yeah,
like, so
100%.
we can't even barely say his name at this point. And some people say it's Sam Darnold. Who knows? You can tell us. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, this is Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. I just wanted to nominate last year being under Matt Rhule's first year
we heard this.
head coach.
We heard this.
The
call?
disappointing player.
Sorry. Next one.
Hey, what's up, C3 Panthers fans? This is Shane Welch, the Cardiac 13.
What's up, Shane?
The Cardiac Cat 13. Calling from Stokesdale, North Carolina. Hey, man, that game this weekend, that was just a reality check.
All right. I like this.
We're a good football team, but we all talked about it before the season started that we had no depth. That if a couple injuries hit us, who did we have to back those guys
We
up?
got to play from ahead, too.
That caught up with us. We talked about how bad our offensive line was. It ain't got no better. We talked about our kicking woes. That ain't got no better. We're a good football team. We're a playoff football team. We're not a Super Bowl contender. But we could very easily be 7-1 after the next 4 games. All 4 of those teams are 1-3. We can beat the Patriots and be 8-1 going into the game against the Cardinals. So there's a chance for us to be a really good football team. We're just not a championship caliber football team yet. There's hope in the future. Everybody keep pounding. We're not out of this thing yet. It's only week 4. We still got 13 games to play. Go Panthers. Have a good night, guys.
A lot of positivity in the call lines tonight.
Yeah. Can I also add another one?
Yeah.
Like, if we want to start talking about positives, I know that the Bucks won, but I saw a lot of cracks in their armor.
Yeah.
I don't believe they are. They're certainly the ones to beat in the NFC South. But do I think they're a Super Bowl team right now? I didn't see a Super Bowl team out there on that field Sunday night. And I haven't really all year, except for maybe that first game against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, I said this earlier. We've seen good teams this year already lose. So, also knowing that the Saints lost to the Giants, the Falcons lost to the Washington football team, Tampa Bay, yeah, they've got Tom Brady, they've got all these players, but they haven't looked by any means invincible. And this is a team that also, Tampa Bay lost 5 games last year and still went on to win the Super Bowl. I don't mind dropping a few games in September, early October. I mean, really, it's late October, early November football where it really starts to matter, and those good teams separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And a lot of it, too, is what teams are getting healthy at the right time. And this is another question that I think we need to at least touch on for a moment, because we've been having it for the past few weeks here. I'm not in favor of rushing Christian McCaffrey back into action. I mean, apparently he's day-to-day and Christian might come back. Let me tell you, I don't want to.
They should have just put him on IR for 3 weeks and just shut it down and brought an extra offensive lineman on.
I do not want to see Christian versus Philadelphia, and maybe a lot of you are disagree.
No, I agree with that. No, I
yeah,
agree with that.
I don't want to see him. Let him have an extra week to 100%
Two.
I know that Christian is raring and raving to go. I understand this, man. But part of what we had to learn the hard way about Cam Newton's injuries and Greg Olson's injuries is that when your star players are getting hurt, they're elite football players. They want to be out on the football field playing for their team. So part of it is you have to reel these guys in and say, hold on, man. I know you're ready to go, ready to get back on the football field. But for your own health and safety and for the betterment of this team's long-term goals, we're going to sit you back 1 more week, make sure your hamstring is fully healed, ready to go, and then let's hit the ground running and make sure that we're not dealing with this.
Why don't we just shelf him till November 14th against the Cardinals? Think about this. Is that really like you want to try him out against the Eagles where one, I don't think the Eagles defense is gonna like ruin him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not scared about their defense on Christian McCaffrey, but it's about the health of Christian McCaffrey. But then we got to play. So we have the Vikings next. All right, so let's bring them to the Vikings game, maybe. But then we got the Giants, the Falcons, and the Patriots. Like, I'm at to the point. I feel like we could beat everybody but the Vikings without Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, yeah, I would.
Why do we need them to beat the Eagles right now? And I mean, I'm not saying to beat the Eagles, but boy, wouldn't Christian McCaffrey help a lot on the road against the Cardinals November 14th, rather than playing 2 weeks and re-aggravating his hamstring against the Giants?
Is there a rule like, and maybe I misunderstood this, and maybe I don't understand, maybe I didn't know this. If there is, like, with the IR, I remember it used to be guaranteed. Like, you could, like, what was it? It was a minimum of
used to be 6 or 8
weeks, or 8 weeks or something like that.
Now they got a new rule,
right? And so that's what it used to be. But am I mistaken in saying like they have a limit every year of how many people they can bring off of IR?
That I don't know, but I do know they have a short-term IR now, which is 3 weeks. And then on top of that, there is another new rule, which I need you guys' help to help me figure out. is I swear to Christ, when I watch these football games, the fullback is moving in motion before the ball is snapped. And I think it looks like a false start every goddamn time. These are new rules. They allow the fullback to be running to a certain direction.
Right.
Tell me about this. I don't know. I mean, you guys haven't seen that at all. It looks like kind of like a shift.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like a shift, but like
I
tell
don't
me if
feel
I'm
like
wrong.
As long as they're off the line, I don't think it's a problem.
Is
You
that
might
what
have
it
to
is?
find
They
an
can move
example.
entirely?
You
I
might
want
have
to
to find an
know about
example
that.
of what you're talking about and show it to me. I don't. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe
It's
I'm
like
just not
on
making it a
every
point
fucking
to
run
look
play.
at
It's
it.
crazy.
But I will say this. So ideally, I would like to see Christian McCaffrey back at home for Minnesota. I think that's a good game if he's because listen, there's a chance that he's ahead of schedule. And maybe that's why he's day to day. You know, they're kind of seeing how he is. I would take one more rest and comfort week, make sure that he's good and healthy. And by the way, I actually went on the Philadelphia Eagles subreddit today, and apparently the two positions that they're worst at is linebacker and running back. And they pay the least amount of money to linebackers and running backs out of any team in the NFL. So knowing that we're not,
then they should be a Super Bowl team in your eyes, right?
no, not at all, man. Yeah, I mean, not from a linebacker
Those are the
standpoint.
positions you're supposed to pay pennies to.
Well, not linebacker, running back. I'll say they're they're more replaceable. But the reason why I bring up the running back position because on the other end of the field, when we play Minnesota, they're going to have Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs in the NFL. And they're going to be able to do that ball control kind of offense too. And they're going to look at what Dallas did and try and replicate that same success. But we have to have a better defensive performance. And I do think at that time, having Christian back before we go on the road for two big time away games with New York and Atlanta, I think that would be a great timetable for him. But no need to rush him back, man. We need to learn from our past
Want him to
mistakes.
come again and help us with these teams we should beat the fuck out of anyway?
Because I'm being realistic. I know he's going to come back at some point in that span. I mean, they're not just going to keep him off the field if he's 100% ready to play. So, I might want to start him.
So we need him against the Vikings then. Let's see him against the Vikings then. That's what we need because the Vikings are a pretty good team. Like people be sleeping on them.
Yeah, and I want them against Atlanta too, just because it's a division rival and I want to shit down their necks.
All right. Next call.
Hey, what's up, C3 Panthers fans? This is Shane Welch, the Cardiac 13.
Sorry, next one.
Yo, what's good, C3? It's Justin.
What's
I
up,
just
Justin?
wanted to call in and give a vocal agreement with what Cody's been saying. I've been echoing it since hearing Cody say it, and obviously through the first 4 games of the season, it's become more and more apparent that there needs to be a shuffling at the O-line of the O-line. Moulton's been solid, but I feel like Moulton's play has been going down because of how poorly the guys to his left have been playing.
Yeah.
And they have to do something. Something needs to be done in order for that to be fixed. I truly believe that like the rookies can't be any worse than what's been going out there. And by far, in my opinion, Paradis has been the worst of the O-line. I can't think of the linebacker's name, the Cowboys linebacker. He used speed to get around Paradis. And then Randy Gregory used power. Like they both put Paradis right in Sam's lap. Sam's putting up numbers behind this line. If we shuffle the line around and those rookies are able to propel this line into an average area, we're going to be a problem for every team that we play. But as this line is currently constructed, it's going to be a problem for Sam and the rest of the offensive players. Like, their sack total has gone up each week. I think it was 2 against the Saints, 3 against the Texans. They gave up 5 to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys only had 4 sacks on the season going into that game. You don't make the playoffs. You don't make no deep playoff run with an O-line like that. It's been said that Sam hasn't played a full season, and if this line stays as it is, he's not going to play a full season with us either. He's going to end up getting hurt. And I hope Rhule and company, like from that clip that you guys played, Rhule seems to acknowledge that this line, as it's currently constructed, cannot be the final product. So I'm hoping that they address it.
You got disciples, homie.
I'm all for Christensen being
Straight
at left tackle,
disciples.
left guard. Leave Daly out there on the left side, left tackle or left guard. Put Tecklenburg in at center. Put Blastoise in at right guard. Leave Moulton where he's at, and put a tight end. Put Trimble in at fullback.
That's all he calls.
And let him stay back there and help block. That's what he was known for in college. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Enjoying the show. Appreciate what you guys do. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, Justin. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm growing my number of disciples, Tony Dunn. I'm trying to put people on this word. I'm trying to put.
I know. I really
word,
feel like it's like he's like a guru at this point.
But dude, like, I'm not trying to sound like a conceited asshole, man, but I've been right on a bunch of this shit that I've ended up saying, man. So, dude, maybe these Panthers do need to listen. Hey, call me up, man.
Blastoids? Who the fuck? What is that?
I'll show you. He's a Pokemon. He's this big water turtle. He's a big bad.
And how is it not? Who is it that I like? Is I like the analogy that's more of the not analogy, but the reference to what was his name? Kubra. He was the princess. He was in Mario Brothers. He was the big turtle.
Bowser.
Yeah, that's what I thought it looked like was Bowser.
This is Blastoise. Is this a big? Is this a big war turtle? It's a big angry.
I love how this is like
dude.
This cartoon resonated more with kids one generation later than me. Bowser and all of them were like, or whatever. That look, that's like basic. That's the most basic cartoon ever.
Hey man, don't pretend like you know. Me and CK know, man. When we were in elementary school, when Pokemon cards came out, dude, there was nothing in the world.
Dude, that was
there was nothing
have you Pokemon
in the world
Go like crazy?
Like Pokemon. Not necessarily.
Are you Pokemon goers?
From a nostalgia standpoint,
never played with it.
When I was in elementary school, dude, if you weren't down with Pokemon and Pokemon cards, you were a fucking lame, dude. Pokemon was
with them hacky sacks. There were some
come on, Grandpa. Hacky sacks?
Nah, what were these? This other thing that we used to do, and these were and there was a little bit when I was starting to get older, but you would Pogs. You ever heard of Pogs?
I did. I messed with those as well.
And then you they're like marbles. They're like Bowser meets a marble, right?
Yeah,
so you have all these Pogs that you could collect that are like you get your Bowser Pog. But then
and hell yeah, new daddy. I was the Digimon guy too, man. Digimon was
what the hell is a Digimon? I don't even know what that. I never heard that,
dude.
Never heard of it in my life.
Digimon was like this kind of offshoot of Pokemon, but a lot of people liked it better. And I was actually one of those. Of course they did.
I'm a contract.
Yeah, I was one of these. I was one of them.
Digimon was cool because like you combined different creatures to make different creatures. Or more epic creatures, which was pretty cool. But yeah, Digimon was one of my. I used to really like to watch Digimon, but I used to love playing Pokemon. So it was like one was more entertaining to watch, and one was more entertaining to play.
What the hell is Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yu-Gi-Oh?
You never heard of Yu-Gi-Oh? Tony, bro, you need a crash course in 90s pop culture, bro.
90s? I'm from the 90s. I mean, you're in the wrong decade.
Dude, maybe you're a little bit before. You have to be, man. Do you know what Dragon Ball Z is?
I mean, I've heard of it, yeah, but it was way after being alive.
Dude. Actually, no. Technically, it was before your time. Even it came out in the early.
No, dude, that was a. Yes,
Ball's
I've heard
been
about
around
that.
a long
But here's the
time.
thing: in like 1999, I wasn't sitting around watching cartoons anymore.
How old were you in
You know,
1999?
I was 18.
Oh yeah, of course not.
So I was like out
9
trying to
years
get that.
old.
Yeah. So see, that's what I'm saying is like, yes, was I part of that 90s is my decade, huh, man? But we a little
Daniel
on
said
the.
Tony's setting up the Atari Pong.
All right, whatever. All right, y'all are terrible, man.
What's so mean to Tony?
That was so funny. No, that shit was so funny.
I just wanted to call
Cody,
in and agree, give a vocal agreement with what Cody's been saying.
that's
I've
what we
been
just heard.
echoing
it's
it.
the
Cody,
same
you are-
goddamn call, man.
Tony, you are off of it tonight.
I am. I'm so shook.
That's the third
Look,
time
this
in a
is-
row you played the same call.
I know. And on top of this,
Boogie again, 704. Man, that offensive line, man, it'll probably
Terrible.
take 2 years to get that straightened out. Probably take 2 drafts.
Don't put that out in the world.
But our defense, I feel like, man, we like one piece away, and we just need an anchor on that defensive line. And when I say anchor, I'm talking about like Star. Star was an anchor that let.
oh, did you
K1
hear
Short
about
get
him
his rocks
today?
off.
What happened with him?
When I think about anchors, I think about like Gilbert Brown from the Panthers.
They were just saying how like dope he is for Buffalo still.
Or Vincent Wilford that played in Texans and New England. You got to have that anchor, man. That's not gonna get pushed around, man. It's gonna hold that anchor in place, man, and let everybody else fly around and do what they do. So, man, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. In the meantime,
Do you think this? All
pounding,
right.
fellas.
Thanks a ton for the call. Do you think
Appreciate
that
you, man.
this? Do you think this game is a referendum on our defensive front, or do you think that our defensive front was negated by other factors? And I'm going to go ahead and give you my answer right away. Is that look? Do I think that Brian Burns, Hassan Reddick, and Derek Brown are any less disruptive than they have been? No, I don't. I think next week come out, they're going to try to fuck people up. They are going against a good Philadelphia line that has suffered injury, that somehow has good backups. It's crazy. I know. How does a line who gets injured have good backups? We don't know that. We don't know good things in Carolina. But I truly believe that our defensive pass rush was negated more so by the inability of the offense to be consistent production, playing from behind, and then them busting off these big ass runs. Like, is it real? You know, I mean, like, does that mean that Brian Burns can't rush the passer anymore because Ezekiel Elliott got a 70-yard run? No, it doesn't mean that.
No.
So calm down on that. But our secondary, the changes there, the missing of Shaq Thompson, that's going to make it more difficult. And maybe we see the run continue to be a problem now.
Yeah, I don't know about continuing to be a problem. Listen, you might not like my answer because it's not really too strong one way or the other. We're going to have to respond and see another performance before we can know. I mean, we didn't play up against great offensive lines. Well, except for the Saints. I don't care what anyone says. The Saints
what do you mean
still
we
have
gotta
a good
wait?
offensive line. Well, this is what
Shaq?
let me
What
finish
the
and
fuck?
you're here. This is what I'm saying. If the Panthers continue to let teams run all over them, then we can kind of say, all right, is this an indictment on on the level of talent that our guys have, and they're just not up to snuff. And maybe some of these guys just aren't quite as good as we thought they were, or did they just have a bad day at the office? And especially playing football,
Which
you're
one
gonna
do you
have
think
that
it is?
sometime.
Which one do you think it
I
is?
think my honest opinion, I think they had a bad day at the office. It's a young front seven that went up against a much more veteran, much more tenured offensive line that had been playing together for some time. That they had a rhythm and a tandem with one another, and they were able to slap us in the mouth. And yeah, I think that sometimes that's going to happen, but ultimately, I think Derek Brown is still a monster, incredible power in the middle. I'm not any less of a believer in Phil Snow and what he's been able to do with our defensive play calling. And then Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick, I think when those two guys are playing on the edge at the same time, they're always representing a threat to annihilate the quarterback on any given play. So, yeah, I think it was a bad day at the office, but I can't confirm that yet, man. We need a good game against Philadelphia.
CK, I want to believe him.
Yeah.
I want to believe him that it's a bad day at the office, and I do think it was a bad day at the office.
Right.
You can't go in there and be like, oh, that was a good day at the office.
Certainly.
But here's what he said all these names, and I love all those names, and they're awesome, and they're going to play this week, but they're not the problem. The problem is not Derek Brown. The problem is not Brian Burns. The problem is not Hassan Reddick. The problem is that Shaq Thompson is going to miss a couple of games. The problem is that we don't know who our safeties and corners are at this point. And it's not that they're bad or good that I'm trying to say a referendum. Look, CJ Henderson actually played pretty well from all regards in this first game. But it's not those names that he mentioned that are the problem. The problem is the back end of the field, the youth, and I won't say inconsistency, the unknowns there. Are you ready to just say that it's just a bad day at the office?
I mean, yeah, I think that.
Oh, I feel like sorry, I put it on you. And Cody, you should have to deal with that. You should have to deal with that question. You over there. But do you really think it's just a bad day, man?
I did. I already told you that. I thought it was a bad day. Yeah. I mean, I really. So what, Tony? Are you saying that this is who we are? That we're that limp team that's just gonna get run all over and just get our shit kicked in? Is that what you're saying? That's who the Panthers defense really is?
CK, what do you think? Because
I'm
think
asking you.
You want to know what I think?
Yeah, because
I will tell you
like
this is actually, I don't think we were exposed. I think we were we ran up into injury. Like we were really good until we got injured. And I don't know about that communication in the backfield. And now that Shaq's gone, is that actually, I would think this is that regardless of how good those guys are, the front four, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them, is that if they go out there and mugs get run up on them, what are we going to say? We're going to say, well, we're missing Shaq. We're missing this. We're missing that. Like, and it's true. And it is true. So, yes, is that right now I think that this defensive unit is hobbled to a point where I don't know how they're going to recover. Period. I don't know how they're going to recover. Tell me how.
Is it that bad?
You guys are talking about you're talking about signing Jamie Collins.
No, not Jamie Collins.
Ooh, what a crazy story this would go from being the number one defense. Imagine if you were the number one defense and you went to like the 27th defense in like 4 weeks.
No, I think you're panicking for nothing, Tony.
I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking. What I'm saying is that the losses are significant. We were thin in linebacker, period. before we came into this season, look, 2 weeks ago, you guys were saying the worst part of this defense was the linebacker core. And this is a homie that has been on Shaq for the last 3 years. And I brought the jersey back out this year. I'm all on the Shaq train this year. And then the mug gets hurt. And guess what? That's like our best asset. We just lost our best, worst asset. Like,
but
what
have
the
I
fuck
been
is
saying
next?
too? That our defensive line has been allowing our linebackers to play faster and to flow faster.
Right, true. But who are you going to get to do in that? Who's going to do it now, though?
The dudes, though. We still have the dudes, man.
Who?
Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Hassan.
No.
Reddick,
who is the
Jones,
linebacker?
Jermaine Carter, Frankie Louvu. Listen, our linebacker is what it is right now, Tony. I mean, you can wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster.
Wow.
It's going to be what it is. Our linebackers is what it is. As long as our front four continues to get home, then we have a chance no matter who we try out there. Go ahead.
Don't forget, we do have other linebackers that are playing as defensive ends. Hassan Reddick isn't immune to being able to play as a linebacker outside of the defensive line rushing the quarterback. You know, let's be real about some stuff. It's not like we're ruined, like we're completely just without possible starters. Like, I mean, we have people. It's just a matter of like being able to plug and play. That's what this whole coaching staff has been about, is being able to have players that are versatile and play multiple positions. And that's what we have. We have Jeremy Chin, Brian Burns, Hassan Reddick. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have Chuba Hubbard, who, you know, is maybe starting to turn it around and being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. You have
who
Shaq
is the
Thompson,
linebacker, though? Yeah,
who is the linebacker?
We're missing our number one corner. We're missing our safety. So we're missing J.C. Horn. This is what we lost in a week. J.C. Horn, Justin Burris, and now Shaq. And you're going to try to just tell me you're going to cycle Muggs.
But you're also
we're gonna be
acting like
good?
he's gone for the rest of the season.
Who?
Shaq. Shaq will be fine.
No, but
Shaq
he's
will be
definitely
fine.
gone for the next 2 games. Is
Dude,
like
an
what they're acting like.
An NFL season is all about getting healthy at the right time. If we're gonna have injuries, I prefer that these injuries happen right now. I prefer that these injuries happen right now, so that way we can get over them, get healthy, and get better by the time we move into that week 9, week 10 area of our schedule, when we finally start to play a little more big boy football. It's not time to worry and freak out about our defense yet, man. Listen, Tony, hear me out. We have had 3 all-time performances from the Panthers this year. One against our division rival Saints, and then they had 1 bad game on the road this year. I think this defense, and more importantly, Phil Snow, deserves the benefit of the doubt.
Sure. I ain't turning my back on none of the guys, man, but injuries take a toll at some point. I'm sorry. Like,
we all right. We all right.
Let's see. I don't even know what call.
How many calls we have?
Hey guys, it's Joey.
What up, Joey?
First of all, y'all are talking about Urban Meyer. Dude, I ain't got no problem with him being grinded on by a girl and being caught with a buzz. You know
He
what?
did thrust
My
a
black ass
little.
does that shit all the time. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm not the head coach of an NFL team,
right?
But 9 times out of 10, that's probably why that girl was grinding on him.
Can you not see
He's
that?
the head coach of the football team. I mean, I can't believe anybody respects, like being the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars gets you attention from girls, but sometimes they don't know a lot about football. A lot of them do. Got some great ones that do, but not all of them do, and those are probably the ones that are giving him all the attention. Like, girls like Sarah Taylor and the Den Mama, they ain't giving him no attention. He ain't shit. But about the Panthers, yeah, like you remember that call I made on the post game where I basically said the offensive line sucks. Didn't even do my roar because it was just so deflating. I mean, it smelled so bad like shit that even I could see that it sucked. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what other need we would need to address in free agency. Like last year was kind of the linebackers are an issue, and they kind of still are, but they're okay. But there's no reason we can't pull a Kansas City Chiefs, and they basically, aside from signing Patrick Mahomes to like a huge, like drunk ass Joey the Blind Panther dream type deal, they went crazy for their offensive line. I think we could do that this offseason. So I'm real excited. Anyway, guys. Wow!
Again, questions come back to the offensive line. Let's go to the next call. I think it might be Joey again.
Hey, guys. It's Joey again.
Who would
Did
have thought?
anyone hear about the news concerning our former much
Ryan Vermillion.
missed
Oh, I have this
our
on the
athletic
show.
trainer Ryan Vermillion. I say much missed sarcastically because, I mean, basically, he was responsible for Cam Newton's downfall. But guess what? It was on the news because I'm a subscriber to a few local news channels on YouTube. It was on the news that guess what? The drug enforcement, the DEA, raided Homeboy's house and the practice facility. And they say that he was a drug dealer since he's been an NFL athletic trainer. Wow. And
I can't wait to listen to that
They
podcast.
spoke to some players, and the players were like, yeah, he was always a guy that you had to look past the first layer. I found it very hard to trust him. Like, that's what players would say, that he was a shady character. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore.
Nope.
I mean, it's not as crazy as this, but it's almost like that teacher in Union County that found himself getting into it with the cartel. Oh
Lord.
God. Anyway, guys. Oh, and to Ryan Vermillion, ice up, son.
Here we go.
Wow.
Oh man, dude, what did we even say about Ryan Vermillion, man? This guy mismanaged.
RV. No, you gotta call him
injuries.
RV. That's what Ron always calls him. He's like RV.
I mean, dude, how about this? I'll call him a fraud, and he is a fraud. This is the same man.
You've gone so aggressive on this right
Dude,
away.
he is a fraud. I've been saying this forever. This dipshit mismanaged the injuries of Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, Luke Kuechly. I mean, we can go on here. This has been a problem with the Panthers forever. Having players come back in too early. I mean, again, Ryan Vermillion, we've all for a while here had so many questions about the Panthers' doctors, and this guy was the head honcho. He was the head of the bunch. So it's like, what are we doing here, man? Yeah, of course, this asshole was up to shady shit. This is the least surprising thing in the world. I hope this guy gets fucking found guilty. Dude, I have no sympathy for people who are in a position to where they have to help people, but they're only in it for themselves and they have all these ulterior motives and shit. Like, I can't stand that, man. I really can't stand
Isn't it very weird that we all right, so when I sit here on this like cusp of exposure to a team, right? So we're watching this team. We see these things happen. We have this platform. We're trying to influence in this and that. And I know I'm on the outside of it, right? Like, I mean, I know I'm kind of like on the bubble on the outside, but then you see these little things that you think are like, man, I really have been watching this for a while. Can see it. Looks a little fucked up. I don't remember a time where we were just like, look, man, the Panthers, the staff is really getting these guys back quicker than we expected.
Yeah.
I mean, go back to the tape. I mean, go back to the goddamn tape. And it's just like, this is like, why is this dude, why are we having this surgery 8 months after it sounded like we should have had the surgery? Not 8 months. I mean, I'm being exaggerative, but the best example is the one where Cam had something done, and they could have done it right after the season ended, and they waited like 3 months later. And it was like RV. And you're starting to wonder, is RV going to become the scandal that there's this great, and I'm terrible with names, but you could go and there's this podcast like this dude that got rated for the WWE or something, or WWF, like, and he was the doctor for this like professional wrestling organization. Like, is Ryan Vermillion all of a sudden going to become the next Dr. Death podcast? I don't know, but man, I really feel validated. I feel validated at this moment. For all these times we were like, man, this shit seems shady here. Like, why is it that this just wasn't handled better? I'm starting to wonder, Ryan Vermillion, this case. I'm like, I feel like justified. I feel like make an FX show about me.
Yeah, dude. Fuck this guy. I really have no love for these people from yesteryear, from Panthers past. These people that have fucked over players and fans alike with their dirty deeds and their mishaps involving injuries with these players, man. I hope he gets what's coming to him. Again, I certainly don't know the details, but what goes around comes around.
CK,
bro.
why would he be arrested right now? Like, I mean, like, why would they raid his house and this and that? Why would they raid a doctor's house? Would the DEA raid you if you just fudged on your taxes?
No. No, 100%. A raid on the, like, that's the thing. Like, this would be different if it was like
DEA.
Like, it'd be different if these guys just showed up and we're like, hey, any chance we can search and just to get. It was a fucking raid.
Boom. He's like the John Gotti of dude. Hey, here's another thing I want to say about this is poor Ron Rivera. God damn, Ron Rivera has been the sacrifice. He should be the sacrificial. He's the Jesus Christ of the NFL.
Oh, please.
No, I swear, man. Well, actually, I swear. I'm Catholic. I should not be saying any of these words. He's a sacrificial lamb of the NFL. And this is what I mean, is this guy was here when Greg Hardy gets caught up in that shit, right? So Greg Hardy gets this charge, and then all of a sudden Ray Rice video pops, and it became way bigger. If the Ray Rice video did not exist, Justin Hardy would still be playing.
Greg Hardy?
Or Greg Hardy. Thank you. Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy would still be playing in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like the audio and the video from the Ray Rice mashed up. So Ron Rivera had to come out there, and every week they would ask him. They'd be like, well, what's up with Greg Hardy? He'd be like, well, it's a non-commissioner exemplars. So he had that. Then he had the Jerry, help me out. Jerry Richardson. Yes, the leg scandal joint. Right? He's had all of this. He's had to go out there and be the sacrificial lamb. And then he went to the Washington football team, and they trotted him out there for the name change. They trotted him out for the goddamn name change. And they're like, well, what do you think about it? He's like, well, I'm a minority, so of course I think the Washington football team would be great. Like, it is just gone on and on. And now poor Ron Rivera out there having to deal with drug dealing Ryan Vermillion. It has a good ring to it.
Yeah, but at the same time, why do you think Ryan Vermillion was there? For the same reason that Marty Hearn is there, because Ron Rivera has a fucking boys club where all of his pals get to go and hang out around him because he gets to call the shots and be the big timer. So, hey, maybe you want to heap all this. Oh, poor Ron Rivera, dude. Whatever. I don't feel sorry for that guy in the slightest. His
What do
team
you
sucks
mean?
because he
Was he
doesn't know how
getting
to
on,
put
like-
a proper quarterback out there on the football field. I have no sympathy for any person from Panthers past
goodness.
that is now looking for redemption, dude. I don't give
Poor
a fuck.
Ron
I'm
Rivera.
on to the next one. Dude, who gives
Poor
a
Ron
fuck?
Rivera. He got cancer and drug dealing Vermillion. Dude.
I wish
it's
him all the best.
weird.
He's not the only one that's had cancer, man. He
No.
beat it. Power to him. I wish everybody nothing but the best, but at the same
What,
time,
you want
bro,
D'Angelo Williams to shame you next? Is that
bro,
what you
they
saying?
can all get it, man. D'Angelo Williams, fucking Ben Schwartz, or whoever that fucking guy was that used to be a Panthers old lineman that did nothing but talk shit
Jeff.
about Cam Newton.
Jeff Schwartz.
Whatever. Fuck that asshole too. Done with all of it, man. Derek Anderson for being a little bitch about shit on Twitter. Fuck that guy too. Yeah, dude. I'm
I
done.
roll with Cody forever, bro. I got your
Dude,
back.
if
forever,
you're
homie.
not on this shit that the Panthers are on now,
know.
you're on some old shit and we ain't about it no more, man.
You funny.
You're on to the next
All right.
one, bro.
All right. That's it actually for the calls. Let's get through the final information of this. We got to do our picks first of all, or not first of all. What else we got to do? Anything else we got to
We
talk
have
about?
to do, I think, just ice up.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So let's do our picks because I'm trying to start keeping I have a list around here somewhere. We were even going into last week, but how about this? Is that the Atlanta Falcons and the Giants lost in more embarrassing fashions than we did. We got big dicked in the third, right? That's what we did. We got big dicked in the third quarter. These poor mugs.
Was I the only person that took the Washington football team to beat Atlanta?
No, I think I did.
No, I think we all did. I got
You all
the
did?
list,
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were across the board on all of these, actually.
Yeah, like we were even last week, and I think we all had the same picks. And I have.
But didn't I throw a curveball on one of them?
No.
I want to say
I
there
don't
was
think
one
you
of
did.
them that y'all were all on one.
Here it is, right
and
here.
then
All
I
right.
decided
It was
to
right in front of me.
go against.
All right, so
it.
last week we were I was 2-2, you were 1-3, CK was 3-1, and Greg was 3-1. Everybody took the Panthers over the Cowboys. How'd that work out?
Not great. Not great.
Everybody took the Saints over the Giants. Everybody took Tampa Bay over New England. Everybody took the Washington football team. So no, we made no gain. Actually, we all lost. So we all lost how many games?
2?
4.
2. Well, we lost the Saints and Giants, and we lost
the Panthers
Cowboys
and the
and
Cowboys.
Panthers.
We lost everything. Oh, except for the Washington football team.
What do we?
So
all
I
pick?
am now
and
3
and Tampa Bay.
We all picked
Basically,
Tampa Bay
we
though,
all
right?
suck.
We were 2-2 last week.
Yeah. So we have
I
to make
was
sure we get
2-2
Greg's
last
predictions
week.
too at some point.
CK, you were in the lead, and Greg was in the lead.
No,
You're
I
up
mean
by a game.
for this past week, like because we all chose Tampa Bay to win, and we all chose the Redskins to win.
Yes, we did. How terrible. What do you think about this? What was more embarrassing, the Atlanta? And I want you to not save it entirely. I would like you to say some words, Cody, because you'll be like, "I'll see you on Wednesday, motherfucker," which is like 5 minutes away. But who's more embarrassed? Us, Tampa, us, Atlanta, or the Saints?
I would have to say probably the Saints.
Really?
The Giants,
Everybody has said
dude,
this.
before
Everybody's
this
on
week, the
this.
Giants were considered to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and yeah, they still managed to lose. That was a big time loss.
What's
like
one?
at least you already know Atlanta and Washington are kind of bottom feeder teams anyway. So definitely I'd say the Saints.
Which is worse, the Saints losing to the Giants or the Titans losing to the Jets?
Oh, Titans losing to the Jets. That has to be worse. Dude, the Jets are so bad, dude. But you know what? I do like Zach Wilson more than I like Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, you do. Hell yeah. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Though?
We laughed hysterically when they
Dave
picked
Gettleman doesn't. Dave Gettleman doesn't.
All right, so our numbers did not move last week, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so let's go to this week. Let's make our picks this week. Who the Panthers got? Oh, the Eagles. I'll let y'all goes first.
Yeah, man, I'm picking the
It's
Panthers.
a home game. You better come and get the Panthers. Look, none of us. I would almost say this is the chat room needs to start putting bets in there for the first asshole on the show that's going to pick against the Panthers. Like, we're just like Panthers.
I have no problem doing it when I think that we're going to lose. I thought that we had a really good chance to beat Dallas. I thought that we were going to do it, but it didn't happen. But no, this week will not be the week. I am picking my Carolina Panthers to continue their dominance at home. I think we're going to get back on the right track. By the way, I've been looking at some clips that John Ellis is posting. Derek Brown didn't have as bad of a game as people want to say that he did. I think that we're going to be okay. We're going to rebound in a big way. We have some injuries, but good teams play through injuries. Even championship football teams have injuries, but it's all about when you're getting healthy at the right time. I think the Panthers will do that, and I think we're going to beat Philadelphia.
All right, you're up, CK. We beat Philly.
I think we beat Philly. And
don't be the jerk, right?
I said that I didn't think it was going to be earlier. I said that it's probably not going to be as dominant as we think it's going to be, but it'll be a win nonetheless, and it'll be back on the right track.
I'm picking the Panthers.
All right.
I'm picking the Panthers straight up. Because I'm not going to be the first jerk that picks against them. Number one. Number two is I always think they're going to win. Number three, I am. Look, Philly's team is a little bit better than people give them credit for. Right? They got punched in the face like we did in Dallas. They came back and had a pretty solid game against Kansas City. And I know you guys want to say Kansas City up and down and this and that, but they're still the same explosive. Look, my fantasy football kicker had 6 extra points. That's what his game was. And his name was Harrison Butker. By the way, just to let you know, the Kansas City Chiefs had a bad fucking day. They had a bad game, and Harrison Butker had 6 extra points. What the fuck does that mean? Like, what is a good day?
Tremendously.
Like, what is a good day? I want to know what's a great day, homie. Like, shit, what the fuck? But I don't think Philly is. I don't think they're a bunch of I don't think they're awful. But I think it's a game we got to win. If we don't win this game, I think the stock falls.
Yeah,
right?
we have to really look at ourselves in the mirror if we lose.
But they're not a rollover team, though. Like, and when I say that is like it's not a referendum on them. What is it, Javonte Smith? Who's that wide receiver? That's like the new kid they love this
Devontae
month.
Smith, that was my number one.
Devontae.
That was so just like JC
They
Horn was my
love
number
this
one
dude. Like
corner
these mugs
in
be
last year's
like,
draft. Devontae Smith was my number one wide receiver, even over
dude, they
Jamar
be
Chase.
nutting over him. They go crazy on this dude.
He's
like,
good, man.
Yeah.
He's everything that you want from a receiver. It doesn't matter that he isn't very big. He's going to separate and he's going to make a ton of space, and you're not going to be able to get your hands on him. So,
all right. Well, I'm going to take the Panthers, but I'm just going to try to warn you guys, this ain't going to be an easy football game.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like, I think this is going to be one of those games that we could, like, I really think I should take the Eagles here. I'm not, because I love this team. But I we got to get it together first. All right. So what's the next game? Who's New Orleans playing or Atlanta? Who's Atlanta playing? Did we already do that one?
you want me to look? Hang on, I don't have it up, but I have it right now. Hang on.
I'm putting the Panthers. Who's gonna be the dick? You know, I almost should take the Eagles to be the biggest dick on this podcast ever.
Listen, it feels to me like you're saying that your heart is telling you don't think the Panthers are going to win.
No,
that's
it's
what
not
it sounds
that.
like. Hey,
It's not
Tim
that.
Esther said T Baby would be the first. Come on, T Baby,
my
come on down.
God.
Is that you?
Oh my
Are you feeling? Hey, are you
No.
on your T Baby vibes tonight, Tony? It's okay if you are. I don't judge. Say it. You know, I don't care.
Bad offensive line. Bad offensive line. Their defensive line is. Oh no. Maybe I should do that. All right, who's playing next?
I think the Atlanta Falcons. They're Washington. Okay, now they have the Jets. Yeah, they play the Jets.
The Falcons are going to beat them.
I so badly would love to pick the Jets over the Falcons.
I would too, but I think that it would be a mistake in this case. I think the Falcons are just like I think they're a tier above where the Jets are. I just hate to say it. Like, are they that much better? No, but I do think that they are pretty significantly bigger or better at this game.
Have you watched? I have not watched them one time all year.
I mean, I've watched all the highlights.
I haven't watched them
they're
once.
okay. I mean, but at the weirdest times, they're able to move the ball, and when they're able to kind of move it around to Calvin Ridley, but they're not consistent, and they don't have a very good offensive line either. So Matt Ryan continues to look older. A lot of these quarterbacks, dude, Matt Ryan, Ben Roethlisberger, they're all making Tom Brady look even more impressive day by day as these guys continue to get older right in front of our eyes. I don't know, man. Fuck it. I'm going to do it, dude. Fuck the Falcons. I'm going to Jets. Make it official, Tony. I'm doing it. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn, man. I don't care. Even if I lose picking against the Falcons, I still won because I picked against the Falcons.
You think they broke the seal with that win, and now they're going to be winning contagious?
I kind of feel like I want to jump on that train. Like I've seen the Jets. You know what? I'm with you. I'm rolling. I'm going Jets, baby.
Yeah, I love it.
And I don't know why, because I've only seen the Jets play. I have not watched Atlanta play. And on top of that, then the Jets got like 5 or 7 sacks against Tennessee. And I know that Tennessee sucks. But I feel like I don't know, like I don't have any other evidence about Atlanta. But is anybody giving me any evidence? And what is Mike Davis doing there? Fantasy owners, I want to know.
Nothing.
I don't think very much. I mean, listen, it's the Falcons. That's all you need to know. They'll find a way to lose games they're supposed to win. And again, even if we're wrong, who gives a shit? picking against the Falcons is never.
I care because I'm trying to beat your ass. But who are the Saints playing now?
The New Orleans Saints are playing the Washington football team.
I think the Washington football team beat them.
Finally,
they just beat the Falcons and they
won it on the last play of the game. Number one, number two, their defense is stinky this year. Why? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't really tell too much. Apparently, Washington doesn't have a good defense either. Everybody was expecting
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Defense.
the Saints.
Washington's defense is supposed to be like, or at least I expected them to be a top 5 defense.
Hey man, go holler at your boy Ron Rivera.
30, homie.
Go holler at your boy
30.
Holler at your boy Ron Rivera and his former Panther party that he's got
all right, so
going on over there.
CK, you said that the Washington football team is winning this?
Yeah, I think they're winning.
All right. What you got, Cody?
Yeah, I'm picking New Orleans. I think New Orleans will get back in the win column.
Yeah, same here.
They look bad. This past week.
What do you mean same here? I thought you were picking Washington.
I know he can't say same here. That was fucked up.
You can't say same here. Who you going for, CK?
My bad. I thought you were talking about something else. My bad.
And then Tampa.
I'm picking New Orleans, dude. The man, fuck the Washington football team. They have fucked everybody the whole season.
Tampa plays the Dolphins.
Tampa across the board, right?
Yeah, because they still got Jacoby Brissett in there as a
all of our dude. How about this? All of the NFC South really has no reason to lose their matchups this Sunday.
Right.
Us against Philly.
I like that.
We should have no reason to lose against Philly. Theoretically, the Falcons should have no reason to lose against New York. The Saints should have no reason to lose against Washington, and Tampa Bay should have no reason to lose against Miami.
Right.
But one of them is going to.
Would that be a good Would that be a good 4-game parlay?
Maybe. Maybe so. You have to ask.
But they have to cover then. Like if you're gonna make it a parlay, don't they all have to cover?
Yeah.
Which is different than just winning.
That's not wrong.
I feel like I put y'all on the night on that. Good God. I was like, man,
I just don't know shit about parlays, and believe it or not,
parlays is just multiple bets on one. Like you have to win.
I mean, I know what it is, but I couldn't tell you what it is or isn't a good parlay. You know, like I don't know.
Can you do just straight up wins, CK?
No,
like, I don't think you can bet straight up like just the Panthers win.
I think you can, but you're not dealing with the same odds. Like you can choose to have like I could be wrong. I haven't messed with FanDuel a lot, but I'm pretty sure you can create your own odds and then their odds change based on that.
Okay. Well, that's
like
more
your
complicated.
own.
Than
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you got to get all 4 bets for a parlay or not. And usually I thought you had to do that against the spread, which is ridiculous. Getting 4 bets straight up is already tough. Like just straight up winners is hard. Against the spread, more difficult. And that's why they cup your balls when you win the parlay, I guess. All right. The number is 252-228-5098. You're listening to the longest running Panthers podcast. It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we jump up here and chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from a fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. We've been just chopping through the news. And tomorrow night we got some cool things coming at you. Number one, the C3 Beat Check is here. Guys, we got Eric Summers. We got Muggs coming on. Cody last name. You're going to be there. We got Eric Summers at 9 o'clock. Let me make sure. I'm going to check my times while you fill me in. Cat Scratch Reader, come in here. And this is the guy that was down. You remember when Greg said that the New York Jets, and they were like talking about how bad or their offensive line and our offensive line was, and he went into the vault of ESPN analytics and said, guys, how are you going to try to tell us that our offensive line was worse than theirs when we had 72,000 hurries? That's what he did. And it's like a great, like, I'm going to watch the whole thing. Like, it was like an expose. It was like an ESPN 30 for 30.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm just so pumped about all the content that we're continuing to bring these fans, man. And listen, we are so close to everyone listening. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers. Please, man, if you have not done so already, hit the subscribe button. If you have any Panther friends and family that need somewhere to come to talk about this football team, let somebody know. Do us a favor, tell a friend, hit that notification bell for every single time we go live. We upload multiple times a week, man. We're putting out a bunch of different content. That Friday free-for-all has been banging every Friday at 7 p.m. where you can join the show. Yes, you, whoever you are listening right now, you can come on the show and tell us what you think about these Carolina Panthers and our opponents and whatever else in the NFL you're trying to talk about, man. So please like and subscribe, and yeah, let's
the beat check on Wednesday. Like I said, 9 o'clock. Eric Summers, 9:30. Brandon Lee Godwin, Eagles reporter, managing editor for Bleeding Green. So the beat check's gonna be pumping. It's gonna be fun. Also, you got to debate my take on Wednesday. We're going to be putting out some previews of some Madden simulations, CK.
Yep.
How can they find your work as you're developing those?
Yeah, you can find me, as you see my username down below, Codizzle Allen. And I'm on most social media platforms. But like I said, the main thing right now, especially during the middle of the season, every week we're releasing a Madden simulation of the upcoming matchup. I try to make it as exact as what we're going to be expecting. Like, for instance, if Shaq's going to be out, I'll try to make sure he's out of the lineup. Some of them might not necessarily be accurate, as we don't know for sure whether or not they're going to be going or not. So, but and then we just spectate and we commentate the game. It's a super expedited game, but you guys need to go check it out because it is super fun to watch. And a lot of people have actually felt like their heart racing, like getting excited about it because it feels like it is a real game.
Comments are great. Well, why don't you guys ice some fools up on the way out the door so we don't forget this segment?
Yeah. So you want me to to go first here?
Good. We got it. Yeah. Let's get them.
So I don't know how many of you were able to peep the Monday Night Football game that occurred last night. But if you didn't see it, the Chargers and the Rams too, they have this big, beautiful, brand new stadium called SoFi Stadium. And that's, the big new stadium on the block in the NFL. Well, it has a dome on top of it, but they still had a rain and a lightning delay, even in spite of them having a roof on it. Yeah, and they made them go back into the locker rooms while they were under this weather delay. The funniest thing about it is that they evacuated the teams, but they left all the Monday Night Football broadcasters out there on the field. And everyone was still in the stands. It's like, dude, what are you even doing? Is there real danger to be had or not? If so, then shouldn't everyone be moving? Why are the players not out there? And why did you build a fucking roof on your stadium if it isn't going to be able to protect you from a little bit of rain? Dude, to all of our West Coast fans, all the rumors are true. Californians really do hate rain, and the entire California coast shuts down whenever they get a little bit of water from the heavens. Hey, man, I'm sorry. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. You spent $5 billion on a roof, and you're still experiencing weather delay to Los Angeles and SoFi Stadium. Ice up, son.
Ice up.
My ice up pick continues to go to what's the owner of the Raiders guy's name?
Oh gosh, what is his name?
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis, the Davis guy. Man, that haircut, bro. That haircut is like in serious need. So that's my ice up pick here. I ain't got nothing else right now, other than actually, you know what? I'll ice up having COVID. That shit sucks. You can't taste or smell anything. What's up?
Have you lost your taste?
At the end, like I wasn't even feeling sick, and then all of a sudden I was like couldn't taste anything. I was like,
really?
Couldn't smell. Yeah, it was like right at the end too. So anyway.
Man.
Who cares? I need to go on to the next day. Look, I'm trying to get my takes right, bro. I got some good takes. Like I'm putting some heavy topics at you tomorrow, man. Like some big topics. Rashawn Slater or Horn.
Message them to me really early, and
I already sent them to you in your email. You don't check email because y'all are all babies. Remember, y'all like, oh, we're so old. You were telling me your ages earlier, and you don't check your emails.
Dude.
You don't check your goddamn emails. All right. CK, who did you got the ice up? Who do you want to ice up?
I'm just icing up the justice system, man. Like I know
the justice system,
bro. Like as a whole,
I'm with you, homie.
Like I was watching a video of this kid who like was 14 years old, and it's an old video. It's like 8 years ago, but I'd never saw it before. And like he wanted to go home, like he wanted to be like live with his dad.
Me too.
Like, and he was upset. Like he did not want to go, and the courts, even though he's 14 and he can, in my opinion, make his decision himself, still couldn't make the decision in his eyes. Wasn't fit to make his own decision like that. And his dad didn't do anything wrong, but like it irritated the shit out of me to watch that and see that happen just because he's the dad. I'm not gonna say it's just because he's the dad. I don't know the whole story, but like it's just irritating. The justice system, the way that it is, like it's just broken, and it's as much as we want to say it's a fair and balanced system, it's really not. And that's my ice up pick.
Do not go and listen to Serial Season 3 then, if you want to learn about how much you love the justice system. Anyway, it's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Every Tuesday night, we chop it up.
Wait, what? I know we all need to go. You want to see a real short, funny 11-second clip?
Hell yeah.
That I saved from my ice up. This could also have been my ice up. Dude, you can't tell me that this wasn't on purpose. Can you hear this?
Details including
yes.
Time.
Yes.
That's ahead.
R. Kelly.
Oh,
I love it, dude.
Oh man, that's just
not
right.
right.
The very next one. That man was getting pee-peed on.
Oh my god.
Dude, that had to be on purpose. It had to be, dude. It had to be. It had to be. Either I'm just a child or that was on purpose. That was
all right. So tomorrow night we debate. We're gonna debate up here. We've got the C3 beat check tomorrow. We've got Brandon Lee Godwin representing Eagles Nation, Bleeding Green. This dude got 65,000 followers on Twitter.
Nice.
Like that. I know. On top of that, we've got Eric Summers helping us with the Carolina Panthers. And I'm gonna beat your ass. Look, I'm going up. I'm going to 2-0. I had people telling me they were like chanting my name when I walked out of there last week. Yes, they
Yeah,
were.
maybe your mom and your wife. That's about it, dude. There's
wife ain't
no
ever chin in
scenario
my neck.
in which you outwit me any day of the week, Tony Dunn. You already know
It's
this.
gonna happen
You're
tomorrow.
setting yourself
All
up for failure. It's okay.
Let's get the hell out of here. Dither and Dave, you better save that. You better save it. I got some good stuff for him coming later. Anyway, let's go on. Take us out of here, Cody. It's late.
Peace and love, everybody. Keep pounding.